Important update about YouTube playlists. Hey everyone. We've received many messages asking why our YouTube playlists aren't showing up. Do we create YouTube playlists? Yes, we absolutely do. So why can't you see them? Honestly, we're not sure. We've been in contact with YouTube support for several months now, but we still haven't received a clear answer or solution. After much discussion, our team has decided to take matters into our own hands. We believe the issue might be related to the number of playlists we've created on a single channel, possibly too many. Our solution? We're launching 2 additional YouTube channels, giving us a total of 3. This way, we can organize our audiobooks better and avoid the playlist visibility issue in the future. This change only affects our YouTube audience. If you're a patron supporter, you can still access all our audiobooks by visiting the collection menu on Patreon. Thanks so much for your time and continued support. Happy listening. Shire again was stunned. He hadn't heard anything about this. What kind of cold? Just a regular one, I think. I see. Shire again fell into thought. Rinji hadn't told him anything. But then again, there was no need. Student council members weren't obligated to report if they had no duties, and Rinji had finished his assigned work 2 days ago. Not showing up today was actually within reason. Takuman-kun's sick? Fujiwara sounded worried. Should we go visit him? Yeah, let's go see him after school. Shire again was already picturing it, Rinji lying in bed, a cold compress on his forehead, thermometer in his mouth, cheeks flushed with fever, breathing weakly. Let's call him first. He pulled out his phone and dialed. Beep. It connected after just a few seconds. Hello? Hey Rinji, I heard you're sick. Do you want us to visit you after school? Wait, President. Fujiwara waved behind him. I want to go too. Sick? There was a pause on the other end. Oh, right, forgot to tell you. I'm not actually sick. Huh? The sick leave was just an excuse. Actually. Wait. What's that noise on your end? No one else heard it, but because Shire again had the phone pressed to his ear, he caught everything. Through the line, along with Rinji's voice, he could hear roars, cheers, angry shouts. Things like, get up, damn it. And I bet everything I had on this. I'm at a business event. Huh? Just pretend I ditched class to work a part-time job. Money's a bit tight right now. If you're broke, don't bring ridiculously expensive ingredients to my place. Shire again groaned. Also, we're students. How could you skip class to work? Do it after school or on weekends. And lying to the teacher too? You can't keep this up. Got it. Won't happen again. Rinji chuckled. But there are a bunch of Japan's top business elites here today. It's kind of a rare opportunity. Huh? Shire again fell silent. Business elites? That meant he could network with CEOs of major companies. Leave a good impression, and maybe that'd turn into a job offer someday. So that's why Rinji went. Alright Rinji, just this once. But never again, got it? Understood. Oh, right. Shire again Miyuki suddenly sounded hesitant. Do you think you could introduce me to? Huh? I want to find a decent part-time job too, you know. What he meant was that through Takuman Rinji, he hoped to meet a few company bosses and get himself a summer job with a higher hourly rate. Ideally something over 2,000 yen per hour. Oh, you're looking for work? No problem, leave it to me. Thanks a ton. On Rinji's end. After hanging up, he turned toward the crowd surrounding the fighting ring. A muscular blonde man lay on the floor while another stood, covered in blood. The winner. Takata Oma. As the referee roared, the surrounding crowd erupted in cheers. Despite looking like a bunch of unemployed brawlers enjoying a street fight, many of these men were actually big-name business tycoons. This was the underground arena of Kengan matches. The odds were kind of low this time. Only made 300 million yen. Oh, right, I need to arrange that job for the president. Rinji didn't bother with the rest of the crowd. He pulled out his phone and made a call. Yo, young friend Rinji calling me. What can I do for you? Came the voice of Katahara Matsudo. Old man Katahara, I've got a friend who wants a job. Think you can hook him up? Oh, of course. Any friend of yours is more than welcome. What kind of job? President of the Great Japan Bank. It's honestly beneath his status, but as a part-time job it'll do for now. Chapter 118, the first to bargain with me. Takuman, what exactly do you want your friend to do? You didn't hear me? President of the Great Japan Bank. Your current position. Oh, so you're telling me I should step down, is that it? Katahara chuckled, not angry at all. About that. No one's asking you to resign. You can keep that lousy position. I mean a summer internship. Just let him be acting president for a few days. Which department is he from? If it's the finance division, then maybe. Not from you. He's a high school classmate. A high schooler? Yup. Oh. Only Takuman Renji could suggest something this absurd. Letting a student take the reins of one of Japan's most powerful financial institutions. Katahara must have been wondering whether Renji even used his brain before speaking. The Great Japan Bank, under Katahara's control, effectively ran Japan's economy. If the Shinomiya family was its heart, the bank was its brain. Giving the troll to a high schooler? Well, maybe not impossible. Ho. If my young friend Renji agrees to a certain condition, I can let him take the part-time post. Sure. You're the first guy bold enough to try negotiating with me. Ooh, how scary. But I think you'll find this condition pretty interesting. Katahara said, chuckling. I know what kind of person you are, old man. If your condition actually gave me trouble, you'd have been 6 feet under 4 years ago. Good, then let me explain. Katahara slowly detailed his request over the phone. Surrounded by the noise of cheering crowds, no one noticed Takuman's quiet conversation. So? Interested in the condition? Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Takuman laughed. But are you sure? This could be devastating for the other contestants. No problem at all. Katahara's lips curled into a wicked grin on the other end of the line. As long as it's entertaining. Alright, but don't come crying to me if things blow up. Of course. Just have your friend show up when it's time. You and I won't be around then anyway. Let him do whatever he wants. Got it. With the deal made, Takuman happily ended the call. He'd successfully secured a summer job for Shirogane Miyuki. And quite an easy one. Katahara would have prearranged everything. All Shirogane had to do was sit in an office and get familiar with things. His daily wages would be paid regardless. Renji dialed Shirogane again. Hey, President, I got your part-time job sorted. That fast? Shirogane, still at the student council office, was surprised. Barely 10 minutes had passed since they'd last spoken. What kind of job? Just sitting at a desk, staring at stacks of cash all day. Huh? Oh, that kind of job. At first, Shirogane didn't quite get it, but then he thought of something. It must be cashier work at a department store. I've got experience in that field. Then you're set. You can start as soon as summer vacation begins. Awesome, thanks so much, Renji. By the way, how's the pay? Definitely higher than your current gig. That's great. Shirogane was genuinely thrilled. If the pay was much better than his current job, that meant the hourly rate would easily top 1,000 yen. Maybe even 2,000, especially since Renji had mentioned working around business elites. That kind of money could help him save up and support his family over the break. After putting his phone away, Takuman stretched lazily. Skipping class today turned out to be the right move. He made a decent profit and even arranged a job for the president. He'd done enough for one day. Ah, Takuman-san, there you are. Oh, Mr. Yamashita. Renji turned around and saw the short, middle-aged man. Yamashita Kazuo. Approaching with Takata Oma, still bruised from his fight. Kid, you sure don't slack off. Just finished beating you up, and you're already back in the ring today. That kind of injury heals in 2 days. Oma grinned. You though? When are you going to fight? I can't wait to beat you. First of all, that's never happening. Second, I'm not a gladiator, so I won't even get the chance. TCH. What brings you here today, Takuman-san? Yamashita asked. Did you come to watch Oma fight? Yup. Also came to place some bets and make some cash. Thinking about the money, Renji slapped Oma's shoulder and laughed. Not bad, kid. You fought well. I didn't waste that 100 million yen I bet on you. 100 million? Yamashita's jaw dropped. Maybe that kind of money meant nothing to Renji, but to Yamashita, a low-level employee at a subsidiary of Nogi Group, that could be more than he'd see in a lifetime. The more he thought about it, the more mysterious this high schooler seemed. President Nogi knew him. He seemed to hold considerable influence. Today, he clearly had deep pockets. And most terrifying of all, he had enough strength to beat Takata Oma. Yamashita wisely held his tongue, not daring to say anything that might offend this boy. Oma, on the other hand, didn't bother with all the thinking. With strength like yours, it's a waste not to be a gladiator. My level's way beyond yours. If I joined, it'd be like babysitting. Renji laughed. But since I made a good profit betting on you, I can at least give you a little bonus. Say, 10 million yen isn't a problem. Yamashita. He started calculating how many years it would take him to make that kind of money. Oma, as usual, didn't seem to care much for cash. Even when offered a reward, he wasn't particularly excited. Just buy me dinner. Sure. Chapter 119, what's called the strongest in a high-end yakiniku restaurant nearby, The group sat in a private room. The sizzling beef on the iron plate filled the space with an irresistible aroma. Oma couldn't wait any longer and stuffed a large piece of meat into his mouth. Takeman Renji sat drinking cola, his gaze falling on the two others besides Oma and Yamashita. Nogi Hideki, the president of Nogi Group, and his secretary Aki Yamakta. I don't recall inviting you to. Come on, don't be like that. Takata's one of our fighters. His win is a win for Nogi Group too. Nogi laughed. They'd tagged along after Renji invited Yamashita and Oma. Whatever. You're here already, I don't care. It was just dinner. Your Nogi Group must have made quite a bit from today's Kengan match. That we did. Nogi poured himself a glass of beer, smiling. This time was a duel between our group and Ibu Real Estate. The prize was development rights to the demolition zone of the Mukanaoshi building. A 10 billion yen project. Not bad. It's one of the bigger deals we've had. Yamashita. As a humble employee, Yamashita felt completely out of place among these people. He originally thought he'd just be an ordinary salaryman grinding it out until retirement. But after witnessing a fight, Nogi Hideki personally assigned him to take care of Takata Oma. Just a few days ago, he was still eating half-price Spendo for a few hundred yen. Now he was watching two tycoons discuss a 10 billion yen business deal. This roller coaster made Yamashita Kazuo feel like his peaceful, mundane life was drifting farther and farther away. A real estate project doesn't seem very useful for a company like yours that mainly deals in logistics and publishing. Takeman Renji said with a smirk. So your real motive isn't this, right? Indeed. Nogi Hideki smiled, admitting it without hesitation. For my goal to succeed, I have to win. Katahara's condition? Exactly. Kengan matches really are something else. Renji laughed. Kengan matches first started in Japan during the 5th year of Shidaku, 1715. Back then, merchants constantly clashed over profits, leading to assassinations and bloody rivalries. To curb this violence, the then 4-year-old shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu issued a decree: when merchants had profit disputes, they could resolve them through peaceful violence. Thus, the Kengan Association was born. A year later, Tokugawa Ieyasu died. At the age of 5. The traditions of the Kengan Association were established by the merchants of that time and continue to this day. When companies have business disputes, they each send out fighters to battle in the underground arena, wagering massive stakes. Company stocks, real estate, or anything convertible into money. The winner takes it all. The loser walks away with nothing. That's what Kengan matches are all about. Even if that origin story is half folklore, the phrase peaceful violence is ridiculous enough. But the Kengan Association does, in fact, still exist. Takeman Renji had known about it for 4 years. Back then, he could have used a Kengan match to resolve his conflict with the Shinomiya family. But the red tape and equal betting requirement were too much of a hassle, so he didn't even consider it. Just killing people was far more convenient. There was no such thing as peaceful violence. Violence was inherently brutal and bloody. Takeman had shown Japan's businessmen that not everyone played by their cozy traditions. And no one could punish him for it. That brings me to you, Takata Oma. Renji turned to the guy still stuffing meat into his mouth. Why did you become a gladiator? Was it for money? After hearing the question, Oma swallowed his food and gave a faint smile. Nope. I just wanted to fight. Just fighting and Kengan matches aren't exactly the same. The number of matches a fighter joins reflects how often corporations clash. And in reality, those fights happen a lot. Most fighters end up going match after match, eventually retiring due to injuries or dying in the ring. I know. But as long as I get to fight, I'm happy. Oma's eyes grew sharper. I've only got one goal. I want to find out who's the strongest. Yamashita Kazuo and Aki Yamakta looked at each other, both thinking Takata Oma was nuts. Nogi Hideki just chuckled. As for Takeman Renji, the strongest, huh? Well, the only person I know who fits that title is probably my old man. He answered seriously. Huh? The 2 times I beat you, I wasn't even using my full strength. Not even 10%. Takeman stared at his right hand. I improve at a ridiculous pace. My strength multiplies every year. I'm way stronger now than I was at 12. Aren't we talking about your dad? Exactly. When I was 15 and thought I was really strong, I went home for New Year's. Flashback. Dad, I've gotten stronger. Oh? Congratulations. Let's fight. Right after he said that, his dad, who had been watering the fields, suddenly dropped the sprinkler and looked at him in shock. What? Are you finally turning on your poor, weak, helpless father? No more talk. Here I come. Smack. Thud. With just one finger, his dad slammed Takeman's head straight into the dirt. Son, you've definitely improved. But you'll need a few more years before you can land a hit on your father. Then he turned the sprinkler on Takuman, who was now headfirst in the ground. End of flashback. So yeah, I'd say my dad's probably the strongest. Takata Oma lit up with excitement. Where's your dad? I want to fight him. Don't bother. You can't even beat me. Then fight me first. No thanks. Chapter 120, Fujiwara Chika and Takuman Renji's duet. Takuman-kun. If you've got something to say, just say it. Takuman set down his teacup and glanced at the pink-haired girl smiling in front of him. What is it, Secretary Fujiwara? Ever since he joined the student council, Takuman found Fujiwara Chika extremely tricky to deal with. There were only a few women in the world he considered a handful. His mother was one of them. Fujiwara Chika was definitely on that list too. So he always spoke cautiously around her. Remember what I said before? You've told me a lot of things. How would I know which one? Geez. Takuman-kun, you're so forgetful. Fujiwara puffed her cheeks. I'm talking about what I said while helping the president practice the school anthem. How we should perform a duet together if we got the chance. Oh. That. Takuman had nearly forgotten. A few weeks ago, when Shirogane couldn't carry a tune to save his life, Chika and Takuman had helped him stay after school for practice. After a week, he could finally sing the anthem properly. Only the anthem, though. He still couldn't sing anything else. During that time, Takuman had played his violin once, which sparked Chika's interest as a piano prodigy to do a duet. So, you remember now? Yeah, I remember. Takuman smiled. But unfortunately, you said if we get the chance. I personally don't think that chance is coming. Besides, you hardly play piano anymore, right? No big competitions either. So there's no stage for it. That's not true. There is a stage. Chika suddenly leaned in close and looked up at him. I plan to perform with you at the Hoshin Festival. The Hoshin Festival? It was Shuchin Academy's version of a cultural festival. One of the school's biggest traditional events. Yup. The teacher already approved it. TCH. Which teacher is this nosy? Ms. Sagra. Fujiwara Chika, you've played me. Chika didn't notice the dead fish expression on Takuman's face and continued with a smile. When she heard I wanted you to perform with me, she agreed right away. Said, it's good to keep Renji busy so he doesn't build a bunch of weird watchtowers on school grounds again. I didn't get what she meant. What does that call you take me for? Takuman rubbed his temple, feeling a headache coming. When is the Hoshin Festival? Next semester. Fine. We'll talk about it after summer break. No. Chika grabbed Takuman's arm and yanked him up. If we wait until after summer, there won't be enough time. A duet needs practice and chemistry. Then go find someone else. You really won't agree? Nope. Even if you look at me with puppy dog eyes, it won't work. TCH. Just a moment ago, Chika looked like she was about to cry. Now she was pouting, having realized flattery didn't work on Takuman. But then she leaned in close and grinned mischievously. Are you sure you want to say no? What would be wrong with it? This is a rare chance to boost your popularity at school. You sure you want to miss out? So what if I do? With popularity comes admirers. You might even get a confession from a girl during the festival. In the music room. This is great. Chika cheered. Takuman-kun agreed in the end. Just this once. Oh. Not doing it to impress the girls? Fujiwara Chika wore an infuriating grin as she poked at Takuman Renji's cheek with her finger. Boys going through puberty are easy to read. You're just too cute, Takuman-kun. Shut it. Takuman slapped her hand away and picked up the violin beside him. Let's make it clear. If it doesn't work, we're done with this. Yeah, got it. As Takuman rested the bow on the strings, Fujiwara walked to the piano and took a seat. Her delicate fingers hovered above the keys. She looked like a completely different person when she sat at the piano. Gone was the usual ditzy demeanor, replaced by a focused presence. The sheet music on the stand was Air on the G string by the famous composer Bach, a piece well suited for violin and piano duet. Takuman took a deep breath, then slowly began drawing the bow across the strings. The prelude began. Elegant and solemn, like nobility descending a grand staircase. At the same time, Fujiwara's fingers started dancing over the piano keys. The blend of piano and violin wove a nearly flawless harmony. Sometimes grand, sometimes subdued. Unfolding a hauntingly beautiful melody that captivated the soul. After a few waves of intensity, the piece drew to a gentle close. As the music ended, they both opened their eyes at the same time. Looks like we play pretty well together. So far, I'd say yes. But this piece is so overplayed. You're not seriously planning to use this for the Hoshin Festival, are you? What else, then? We won't have enough time if we rearrange something new. Fujiwara replied. True. I'll see if I can work something out. Eh? So you're agreeing? You could say that. Awesome. Seeing her cheer, Takuman just shook his head and walked out of the music room. Anyway, this kind of thing was just for fun. No harm in it for him. And if things went like Fujiwara hinted, and some girl confessed to him during the festival, then he'd come out ahead. Coincidence or not, Fujiwara Chika had completely figured out how to deal with him. Just as Takuman reached for the door handle, he suddenly paused. Then he flung the door open, immediately triggering chaos outside. A crowd of students, startled, tumbled into the music room like clothes stuffed into a closet suddenly bursting out after months. The scene made Fujiwara jump in fright. Eh? What just happened? Isn't it obvious? Takuman sighed. While we were playing, a whole bunch of students gathered outside. Chapter 121, The upcoming final exams. Thanks to that little scene, Takuman Rinchi's name was now floating around school. Being able to play the violin and having done a duet with Fujiwara Chika became hot topics at the fairly closed-off Shuchen Academy. Everyone knew who Fujiwara Chika was. Adorable, talented, student council secretary, winner of a national middle school piano competition. Basically beloved by all. Whenever students heard her play, they'd gush, "Wow, Fujiwara-san is amazing." But when people heard Takuman could play the violin, the reaction was more like, "Wait, he can play violin." Never saw that coming. Unlike Fujiwara, Takuman's reputation was mostly negative. During his time as a disciplinary committee member, he'd pulled a bunch of weird stunts, even got suspended for a month for violence, and as a transfer student, he was already something of an outsider. All this gave him a rather infamous rep at Shuchen. "Takuman-san, is it true you're going to perform with Fujiwara-senpai?" Someone asked him that in class. "I guess it's true. For now. Whether we keep collaborating is undecided." Takuman glanced at the two girls in front of him. I know Maiko, and her guardian, Asaragi Kobachi. Ever since he was removed from the disciplinary committee, he hadn't interacted much with them. Just exchanged greetings before and after school. That's so nice. Getting to perform with Fujiwara-senpai. What's so nice about it? He'd been tricked into it by Fujiwara in the first place. Fujiwara-senpai is amazing. I was lucky enough to see her perform piano back in middle school, and ever since, I've dreamed of standing on stage with her. Maiko's face radiated admiration. Takuman. He really couldn't get it. Admiring someone like Fujiwara Chika? For what? Cheating at cards? She didn't just win a PTNA gold medal, she's fluent in 5 languages, and she's good at everything. I always wanted to be by her side, and now you've taken that dream. Takuman. He couldn't relate at all. To him, Fujiwara Chika was a scheming handful who exploited his weaknesses, stabbed him when convenient, and flipped sides over profit. Basically, a shady politician. Honestly, I think you're the more impressive one, Ino-san. He blurted out, unable to stomach another mental image of Fujiwara's smug face. When he looked up again, he noticed Ino's face was flushed, and she seemed to be holding back her joy. Thank you. Takuman? It was the first time he'd seen that expression from her. Asaragi let out a sigh beside her. Maiko's way too innocent. A single compliment and she's over the moon. I'm worried for her. And no wonder. Between her heavy sense of duty and her strict enforcement as a disciplinary committee member, she had earned more resentment than praise from her classmates. Since elementary school, her only real friend had been Asaragi. Just when she thought she found a kindred spirit in Takuman, he was expelled from the committee due to violence. She had never been complimented by her peers. Only been treated with hostility. And she deeply cared about others' opinions. Not everyone could be like Takuman and not give a damn about their reputation. By the way, Ino-san, how's your final exam prep going? Oh, I'm still brushing up on the weak spots. Alright, let me tell you something. Takuman grinned. This time, I'm taking the top spot. Oh? Ino's expression instantly shifted from dreamy girl to battle-ready warrior. She had to stay number 1 in her grade. That was her only real source of authority. Then we'll see about that. Asaragi. Takuman sure is something. Gaining favor with one line, then nuking it with the next. I heard you two have been practicing together lately. Hee hee. Since Takuman-kun's violin skills are so good, I thought we should perform together at the Hoshin festival. Fujiwara answered cheerfully. I see. Talent is great and all, but don't forget, finals are coming up. Shirogane said with a serious tone. But he wasn't really speaking to Fujiwara. His real target was Takuman. Fujiwara, like him, was a second year. He didn't want anyone from his year beating him academically. Takuman, on the other hand, was a first year. Shirogane wanted him to score high. Don't worry, President. I'm totally ready for these exams. Takuman gave a thumbs up confidently. Is that so? Kaguya smiled from the side. Try to do better than 5th place this time. Same to you, Shinomiya heiress. Careful you don't drop to 3rd. Huh. That's not going to happen. Don't be so sure. Did you forget you only beat the 3rd place student in your year by a few points? 3rd place in their year was Shijo Maki. She was just 1 point behind Kaguya in total score. You might lose your title of Eternal 2nd. Soon, you'll be Eternal 3rd. That's never going to happen. She hadn't even surpassed Shirogane yet. There's no way she'd drop before doing that. The council's grades are pretty stable. But there's one we should be worried about. Shirogane said, glancing at the group. Takuman, Fujiwara, Kaguya. They were missing one. Ishigami had already gone home. Ishigami's grades. Let's just say they're a mess. And that's putting it kindly. The guy barely studied. No way his grades would hold up. I'll take care of that. Takuman offered. I know where he lives. I'll help him prep for the exams over the next few days. Chapter 122, Are you gonna study or not? Knock knock knock. Who is it? The door of a high-rise apartment opened, revealing a slightly overweight middle-aged man. He looked confused for a second when he saw Takuman, then noticed the school uniform and asked tentatively, You're Yu's classmate? Yes. I'm here to see Ishigami. Oh. You're here to help him study? The moment he heard that, the man beamed and opened the door wide. Come on in. Sorry for the intrusion. Changing into indoor slippers, the middle-aged man, none other than Ishigami Yu's father, smiled and said, ever since he entered high school, that kid's grades have gone downhill. Lately, he's even gotten addicted to games. It really can't go on like this. It's great you came over. By the way, what's your name? My name is Takuman Rinji. Then Takuman-kun, I'll be counting on you with my son. By the way, you must be doing pretty well in school, right? He had to ask. Although there were probably only 2 or 3 students in the entire grade doing worse than Ishigami, he was still concerned whether Takuman was part of the bottom tier too. I'm not that good. I was 5th in the last exam. Oh. That's excellent. The look in Ishigami's father's eyes was filled with approval. What parent doesn't want their kid to befriend top students? He walked over to a door and banged on it. You. Stop playing games. Your classmate's here. Huh? The door opened, and Ishigami peeked his head out with his long bangs hanging over his face. Only to see Takuman Rinji waving at him with a smile. Takuman? What are you doing here? What is he doing here? He's here to help you study, of course. Ishigami's father smacked the back of his son's head and smiled at Takuman. Alright, you two go ahead and study. I won't disturb you. Thanks. Once Ishigami's dad left, Takuman stepped into his room. The walls were plastered with posters of AAA video games, the floor covered in various limited edition consoles, and open game boxes piled up like a mountain. Clearly, Ishigami had poured a lot of money into console gaming. You came without even giving me a heads up. Slipped my mind. Well, you picked the perfect time. Ishigami said, grabbing a newly arrived multiplayer RPG game with a grin. It just got delivered today. Let's fire it up. Ishigami. Takuman placed his hands firmly on his shoulders and said with deep sincerity, I didn't come here to play. Huh? Then why? Didn't your dad already explain? Ishigami's face shifted from joy to terror. And no way. I'm here to make you. No. Don't say that word. Study. No. Hey, is studying really that painful for you? It's extremely painful. I hate studying the most. Wouldn't it be way better to just enjoy a good game together? Ishigami screamed. Games can wait until summer break. What matters now are your grades. Takuman replied. You've already failed twice. One more and you might not be able to move up. Takuman, you have to understand. Some things just can't be forced. Believe me, even with limited time, I can help you raise your grades. No, what I meant is, I hate studying. Funny coincidence. So do I. Then can you not force me? We're friends, aren't we? Yeah. Takuman sighed. As your bro, I really don't want to force you to do something you hate, even if it's for your own good. Exactly. Hearing that, Ishigami smiled again. Let's just enjoy some gaming today. If Dad asks, we'll say we were reviewing. Ishigami. Takuman suddenly said. Yeah? Through the dim lighting of his room, Ishigami looked up at Takuman. His expression shadowed by his blonde bangs. Before coming here, I promised the student council president I wouldn't let you fail again. Takuman's eerily resentful tone sent a shiver down Ishigami's spine. So? If you don't study, your grades won't improve. That means the only way to stop you from failing would be to drag down the average score for the entire grade. Gulp. Ishigami swallowed hard. What are you trying to say? I have a bottle of ultra-strength laxatives at home. If you won't study, I'll have no choice but to add some to the meals of the top 100 students in the grade. Hey. And it's vet grade. Meant for animals. If a human takes it. Takuman looked up at the thoroughly frightened Ishigami. I can't guarantee they'll survive. Takuman. You're joking, right? Ishigami laughed nervously. That's not funny at all. Have I ever lied to you? So, will you study? I will. Excellent. This is your decision. I didn't force you, okay? Takuman's usual smile returned. He pulled a few textbooks from his bag and placed them on Ishigami's game-cluttered desk. Alright then, time waits for no one. Let's start reviewing. Ishigami Yulu. After one round of review, Ishigami lay slumped over the desk. It wasn't that he was physically exhausted, but mentally, the experience was pure torture. Still, the review had been somewhat effective. Judging by the practice questions, Takuman could see clear improvement. Ishigami wasn't dumb. In fact, he was quite smart. Takuman. Ishigami murmured, face buried in his arms. What is it? I'm hungry. Perfect. I brought some tofu fish soup with me. It's rich in high-quality protein and calcium for brain function, and it supports cerebral blood circulation. Takuman handed over the still warm soup from a sealed container. Ishigami took a bite with a spoon and his eyes lit up. In an instant, he finished it all. He had to admit. Takuman's cooking skills were top tier. How was it? Delicious. Ishigami said with a smile, then slumped back onto the desk. But my shoulders are a little sore. I'll give you a massage. Takuman offered with a smile. Ishigami Yulu. This guy. His feminine skills are terrifyingly high. As if struck by a sudden thought, Ishigami blurted, Takuman. Can you wear a wig and a nurse outfit? No. Chapter 123, Calm down. After a period of focused review with Takuman Rinji's help, Ishigami's grades showed obvious improvement. As the final exams approached, Shuchin Academy students were entering full-on study mode. These days in the student council office, Takuman often saw Shirogane and Kaguya humbly downplaying themselves. Or teaming up to deceive the ever-gullible Fujiwara Chika. Takuman, how's Ishigami's progress? Shirogane asked with concern. Not bad. At least he won't fail again. Takuman replied. That's good to hear. Takuman had already assessed Ishigami's level. He'd likely end up around 150th in the year. Which, to be fair, only had about 200 students total. Then if you've been helping Ishigami all this time, what about your grades? No worries. Even if they slip a bit, it won't be by much. Takuman smiled. Shirogane didn't question him. Someone who could casually get 5th in the year wasn't likely to suddenly crash. Unless it was on purpose. This exam feels like it's going to be a disaster. Unlike the calm of the other three in the room, Fujiwara Chika was clearly anxious. If my grades drop this time, Dad's going to cut off my allowance. Blatant lie. Her parents did care about her grades, and she would lose her monthly allowance if her performance dropped. However, she also had a doting grandpa who secretly slipped her huge sums of spending money all the time. Takuman Rinji, no allowance? Just get a part-time job. Haven't you heard? Those who don't work don't eat. Geez. I'm a student, you know. Fujiwara pouted. The president is a student, I'm a student, and I'm a year younger than you. Takuman said flatly. You think being a student means you can escape labor? Takuman-kun, you just don't understand. Fujiwara Chika puffed out her chest and proudly declared, a student's #1 responsibility is studying. Really? Isn't it actually running around campus catching Pokemon on your phone every day, then heading to the board game club after school to stir up trouble? Takuman Renji looked at Fujiwara Chika with suspicion. Because that was literally what Fujiwara Chika did every day at school. Forget it, I wouldn't expect any of Shuchin Academy's spoiled heirs to go get part-time jobs anyway. Shinomiya Kaguya, you're one of those heirs too. Takuman Rinji, shut it. Even if I am one, I got rich through hard work. My life experience is miles ahead of you, little princess. And it's not even like you're working at a proper place. You're the one who's improper, falling head over heels just from an anonymous love letter, Miss Lady in Love. I did not. And stop bringing that up. Shinomiya Kaguya couldn't help but shout. After all, this was in front of Shirogane Miyuki. She was really worried Rinji's words might give him the wrong idea about her. Fujiwara Chika had been quietly listening to their exchange. When she heard Kaguya say not even a proper place to work, her face turned beet-red in an instant. An improper place? Huh? Looking at Rinji's slightly confused face, Fujiwara Chika mumbled in a tiny voice, could it be something like a host club? No way. Then maybe. A massage parlor or something. Takuman Rinji. He turned to look at Shirogane Miyuki and pointed at Fujiwara Chika. President, can I throw this brain-damaged girl out the window? Calm down. The final exams eventually arrived. Inside the classroom, everyone was focused on their tests, trying to do well so they could enjoy summer break with peace of mind. And then, the results were announced the next day. Takuman Renji didn't bother looking at the rankings posted in the second-year building. Instead, he checked the rankings for his own first-year class. He first searched for Ishigami and saw his name sitting comfortably at 147th place. Not bad, Ishigami. Your hard work these past few days paid off. Yeah. Ishigami was very satisfied with his current ranking. He had gone from nearly failing to a solid passing grade. All thanks to Rinji's tutoring. By the way, did you check your own score? Not yet. I'm probably at the top of the list. Rinji smiled. Barring any surprises, I'm number 1 this time. The two walked to the front of the ranking board, where a crowd had already gathered. The students who had gathered were all visibly surprised at what they saw on the board. Even though they hadn't seen the name yet, Ishigami figured Renji must have gotten first. Normally, I know Maiko always ranked first. Since elementary school all the way to high school. Shuchin Academy followed an integrated system, so most students had been together from elementary through high school. Everyone had long grown tired of seeing the same names at the top. This crowd must mean something had changed. Rinji and Ishigami squeezed into the crowd and saw the top 2 names on the list. First, I know Maiko second, Takuman Rinji. I'm second? Rinji said blankly. No, wait. You and Ino got the same score. Ishigami said. Besides the rankings, the board also showed the actual scores. Both Rinji and Ino Maiko had earned 498 points. Just shy of a perfect score. Yet even with the same score, Rinji was ranked second behind Ino. Oh, that's why. Ishigami suddenly remembered something. Because your initials are different. Ino Maiko starts with I, and Takuman Renji starts with T. So when scores are tied, they sort alphabetically by name. There's a rule like that. The ranking board is custom-made. It can only display 1 name per rank. That's such BS. I lost because of my name? Nothing you can do about it. Still, you did technically tie for first. Ishigami smiled to console him. Yeah, but this ranking board doesn't make me happy at all. Pretty sure this is the principal's fault. Rinji pulled out his phone from his pocket. Let's send our beloved principal on a one-way trip to Africa. Calm down. Chapter 124, Summer break begins with the final exams over. Summer vacation was just around the corner. Everyone in the student council had made progress in their scores. Ishigami, you went from the bottom of the rankings up to 147th. Takuman Renji moved up from 5th place to 2nd. As for the second-year students, Shirogane Miyuki retained his first place rank. Shinomiya Kaguya stayed in 2nd. And then there was Fujiwara Chika. She dropped from 92nd place to 101st. All because she believed in Shirogane and Kaguya's nonsense about it's better not to review right before exams, and I stopped studying a few days in advance to conserve energy. Leading her to foolishly not review either. The results were predictable. But overall, everyone was set to enjoy their summer break. Before we officially start the break, let's confirm our plans. Rinji said. In the student council office, all 5 members were gathered. 2 weeks from now on Friday, we're all going to the fireworks festival together. As for the president, his part-time job runs from next month until the end of August. 1 full month. Rinji explained the schedule. Takuman-kun. Fujiwara Chika raised her hand. My little sister, Moa, said she wants to come to the fireworks festival too. Huh? This was supposed to be a student council outing. You sure you want to bring someone else? Now that you mention it. Shirogane spoke up. My sister somehow heard about our plans and said she wanted to join too. I see. Rinji quickly figured it out. Clearly, Chika had told her sister Moa, and since Moa and Go are close friends, Moa must have told her, and then asked her brother. Alright, they can all come along. Yay! Fujiwara Chika clapped happily. The more, the merrier. Rinji. It's not that he disliked a lively group. He just felt the more people there were, the more unpredictable things became. He still had to help Shirogane win over Shinomiya Kaguya at the fireworks festival. Adding 2 more people could throw things off. Was manageable, but Moa. Rinji mulled over the situation between Shirogane and Kaguya, while the 2 of them were also lost in thought about each other. Summer break sounded like a relaxing time, but if spent idly, it could easily become a drag. Making them wish for school to start again. Not because they loved studying, but because school was at least more fun. You could hang out with friends. Summer break just meant staying home, staring blankly at a screen. Both Kaguya and Shirogane had plans for summer. How could they use the break to get the other to confess? And so, summer vacation finally began. It wasn't just the students who had time off. Teachers got a break too. Sakurakaya left Japan during the holidays to visit Sagura Sosuke. The only time they could see each other was during school breaks. Takeman Rinji had originally planned to go home for the holidays, but just as he was preparing to leave, he got a message from his dad. "Son, your mother and I went traveling. We won't be home if you come back, so just stay in Japan. Let me know if you need money. From your loving dad, Takeman Rinji." Since his dad had such a chill job, he had plenty of free time to travel with Mom. They loved visiting random places. Probably only during the new year would both of them be home. So naturally, this summer, Takeman Rinji stayed at home playing video games with Ishigami. With the AC blasting and snacks scattered all over the floor, the two of them sat in front of the TV, each with a controller in hand. "Got any plans for summer, Ishigami? Family trip or anything?" "My family doesn't go out much, and I hate going outside. Usually, I just stay home and game all day," Ishigami said. "Not like those damn normies who are constantly going to parties during break." "Fair enough. Maybe I should set up a 3-player game. We can invite the president next time." "The president, huh? He's probably one of those normies." Can't blame Ishigami for thinking that. Student council president was a role that required massive popularity. In most people's eyes, Shirogane Miyuki didn't seem like the type to stay home during break. He was probably being invited out constantly. "Well, I don't know much about his social life either," Rinji replied while focusing on the screen. What he didn't know was that during summer break, Shirogane Miyuki only did 2 things: part-time work, which Rinji had already helped him land, and staying home. As Ishigami and Rinji were furiously mashing buttons on their controllers, Rinji's phone suddenly buzzed in his pocket. A message. He took it out and saw it was a line from Shirogane. "Rinji, it's so hot at home without AC. Can I come over to cool off?" "Oh?" Without giving it much thought, Rinji quickly replied, "Sure, you're totally welcome," and added his address. After sending the message, he put the phone away and grabbed his controller again. Who was that? "Oh, Ishigami had never heard the name. "The president's little sister," Rinji explained. "Said it's too hot at her place and wants to come here to chill with the AC." Ishigami's expression grew a little strange. "The president's sister. She must be really pretty, huh?" "By normal standards, yeah, she's very attractive." "I see." Ishigami nodded, then suddenly put down his controller. "Right, Rinji, I just remembered. I need to go buy some stuff for my family, so I'll head back now." "Huh? I'll come over again tomorrow." Ishigami smiled. "Oh, and clean up all this snack trash in the room. Don't leave a bad impression." Takeman Rinji, "Oh. And buy some ice cream too." "That's it, I'm off." Under Rinji's confused gaze, Ishigami grabbed his things and left. Before walking out the door, he even gave Rinji a thumbs up, leaving him totally baffled. Chapter 125, The first girl to visit my house during summer break. Aside from those who love going out, most people prefer hiding at home with the air conditioning blowing away the heat. Ugh. It's so hot. Of course, not every home has air conditioning. Shirogane Miyuki sprawled across the living room floor. Even in a thin tank top, he felt unbearably stuffy. Their financial situation couldn't afford an air conditioner. The unit itself was expensive, and none of them wanted to deal with the power bill and maintenance. What's Shinomiya doing now? 2 weeks of summer break had already passed. Every day, Shirogane just lay at home, doing nothing. The part-time job Rinji helped arrange wouldn't start for another 2 weeks, so he was stuck waiting. He'd thought about asking Shinomiya Kaguya out. Summer was boring, after all. But every time he typed halfway through a message, he'd delete it before sending. He was torn. If he sent something like, "Summer's so boring. Want to go out and hang?" there was a high chance Kaguya would reply with, "So eager to go on a date with me?" How adorable, just imagining that gave him goosebumps. Ah. If only Shinomiya would make the first move, then I could invite her out naturally. Shirogane clutched his head and shouted. What he didn't know was that Kaguya was thinking the exact same thing. Shut up already. His door was kicked open. Stormed out of her room. This heat was already enough to make people irritable, and with Shirogane shouting every other minute, she finally snapped. Oh, Hake. Shirogane sighed at his sister's annoyed look. Aren't you going out with your friends or something this summer? Moa's family went abroad. Crossed her arms. Why are you always lying around the house like a dead fish yelling your head off? You sure don't pull punches. Well, I don't have anything to do this summer either. That job Rinji set up for me doesn't start for another 2 weeks. Even your job had to be arranged by Rinji. How pathetic can you get? I just want a high-paying job so I can help support the family. Rent alone is already tough with inflation. Then, thought for a moment. Why not just ask Rinji to come over if you're so bored? Forget it. He probably has stuff going on. He didn't. And don't always rely on Rinji. Don't you think you're depending on him too much? You need to learn to be independent. You're lecturing me again. K's rebellious streak was in full swing. I'm doing it for your own good. Shut up. Cut him off and pulled out her phone. Fine, I'll just go to Rinji's myself. You're going to Rinji's? What? You got a problem with that too? No. Nothing wrong with that. Normally, a brother would be very opposed to his little sister going to a guy's house alone. Who knows what might happen? But since it was Takam and Rinji, Shirogane wasn't really worried. He trusted Rinji not to do anything sketchy. Actually, he was more concerned that his rebellious sister might be the one to cause trouble. If you're going, then go. Just be polite, don't leave a bad impression, and remember it's not your house, so act respectfully. Please stop micromanaging. At least Rinji isn't this annoying. Faced with her scornful look, Shirogane chose to shut up. Suddenly, he sprang up from the living room floor, ran into his room, threw on his school uniform, and grabbed his bike key. As he went downstairs, K was already at the door putting on her shoes. Going out, big bro? Yeah. Gonna go buy groceries. In your school uniform? And swing by the student council room. That's not on the way. School's 2 hours round trip by bike. You'll be soaked in sweat. I don't care. With that, Shirogane jumped on his bike and rode off into the distance. Wait. K shouted, but he was already too far to hear her. TCH. I was gonna give you a ride too. A few minutes later, a car pulled up beside her. The window rolled down to reveal a kind-looking middle-aged man. Excuse me, are you Shirogane? Yes. Mr. Takaman asked me to pick you up. Please, get in. Alright. Rinji lived not far from Shuchin, still in the Minato district. It would still take an hour by bike, so he'd arranged a car to pick up. After checking the license plate, got in the back seat. She'd originally wanted to give her brother a lift, since they're in the same direction, but that clearly wasn't happening now. Thank you for the ride, sir. She said to the driver. It's no trouble at all. The driver replied with a smile. Ding dong. Coming. Takaman Rinji got up from the couch and opened the door. Standing outside was K, dressed in a sleeveless tank top and denim shorts, looking a little shy. Rinji. Sorry to intrude. Not at all. You're very welcome. Rinji smiled warmly. He invited her into the living room, where the coffee table was covered in snacks and beautifully arranged fruit platters. Clearly prepared in advance. You're also the first girl to ever visit my place. Rinji said, scratching the back of his head with a grin. Wasn't really sure what to do, so I just threw together some stuff. Oh right. The apple pie in the oven should be done soon. Help yourself to the TV remote. With that, he ran into the kitchen. I'm the first girl to came to Rinji's house? A faint, almost imperceptible smile appeared on K's face. Chapter 126, Meaningless Things. Shinomiya Kaguya was at her mansion. Her bedroom alone was more than double the size of the entire Shirogane household. Sitting on her oversized bed, her cheeks were slightly red as she looked at a text message from Shirogane Miyuki. It was from over a month ago. Before the school prepared gifts for the French exchange students. The message was a simple greeting, reminding her to keep warm. It was both the first and only text Shirogane had ever sent her. She looked at it nearly every day. Staring at it won't make more messages appear. Kaguya jumped. She turned to find Hayasaka, dressed in a maid uniform, staring at her. Shut up. My, you even put it under message protection. Ugh. Kaguya pouted and hid her phone. I know. The president's first message made you really happy. You wanted to preserve that joy and savor it again and again. That's enough. I didn't think anything like that. Stop reading into people's minds. Flustered and red-faced, Kaguya jumped to her feet. Her reaction made it clear Hayasaka was right on the mark. If you're so bored this summer, why not just ask the president out? No way. If I send a message, it'll make it look like I want to go out with him. Don't you? Of course not. Kaguya huffed and glared at Hayasaka, cheeks still pink. Then what about you? Why haven't you invited Takam and Rinji out to play this summer? Hayasaka's eyes glanced to the side. I just haven't figured out how to face him yet. I see. Better be careful, or it might be too late. You remember what happened before summer break, right? You mean that duet between Rinji and Secretary Fujiwara in the music room? You sure keep yourself well informed. I've always been keeping tabs on Rinji. Hayasaka said. But what does that have to do with anything? Aren't you afraid someone might steal your precious Rinji away? I am. But if you're referring to the secretary, I don't think either of them has romantic feelings for each other. And rushing won't help. I still have trouble even facing him right now. She was planning to observe for now and wait until the time was right. Forget it. Shinomiya Kaguya walked to the door and picked up her school uniform. Are you going out, Kaguya-sama? Heading to school. The student council still has some matters to attend to. Those can wait until next term. Ah, I get it. Hayasaka understood. She walked over and tied up Kaguya's hair with a ribbon. Might as well look nice. Who knows? You might just run into someone. Stop saying that. Kaguya covered her flushed face. Hayasaka, worry about yourself too. For all you know, some girl he's close with might already be visiting Takam and Renji at his house. Hayasaka's hands paused briefly. Then resumed as if nothing had happened. That probably won't happen. The apple pie's ready. Let it cool for a bit before eating. I've got ice cream in the fridge. Want me to bring some out? Don't be so stiff. Just treat this like your own home. Renji said with a chuckle as he looked at sitting prim and proper on the couch. You can relax however you like. Thanks. He was doting on her completely. Though Renji's place wasn't exactly large, it was still much bigger than the Shirogane household, and the decor was cozy. Plus, he had the air conditioning running. Eating fruit and snacks while watching TV, honestly felt more comfortable here than at home. Renji, you're amazing. You cook, you take care of people. She really did enjoy this feeling. Unlike her strict older brother, felt utterly at ease and safe under Renji's attentive care. Haha, it's all thanks to what I learned back then. Renji said with a smile. His expression grew a little wistful. Cooking, baking, taking care of others. He learned all of that 4 years ago. Before that, he knew nothing but how to fight. He picked up all those skills because of Hayasaka. Back then, to become the perfect boyfriend for the blonde girl he liked, Renji had pushed himself to master all the things he wasn't good at. Until she turned him down. He never got to be her boyfriend, perfect or not. But looking back, those things he learned weren't a waste. If anything, Hayasaka was the reason he became who he is today. Nervously rubbed her hands together and asked, cheeks slightly red, Renji, you're good at everything. You must be really popular with girls at school, right? Nope. Most girls probably avoid me. I rarely talk to them anyway. Renji replied with a smile. I got suspended once for a violent incident. Ever since then, classmates don't really talk to me much. I see. Had heard a bit about that from her brother, who always said it wasn't really Renji's fault. But hearing that he rarely interacted with girls made K secretly happy. By the way, Renji suddenly asked, where's the president? Is he home too? Nope. He left before me. Said he was heading to the student council room. The student council? That could have waited until next term. Ah, I get it. Even without Shirogane present, Renji could guess what he was thinking. Do you have anything going on later? Huh? No. I'll head out for a bit. Be back in around half an hour. Renji said with a smile at the entryway. If you think of anything you want to eat, let me know and I'll grab it on the way back. Oh, okay. You go ahead, Renji. Shirogane Miyuki arrived at Shuchin Academy, gasping for breath. He'd pedaled non-stop for an hour under the scorching sun, completely drenched in sweat. But he made it. President? A few students in sportswear looked at him curiously. You here for club activities? No, just some student council stuff to deal with. Only the students involved in athletic clubs were still around. Everyone else was off enjoying their summer vacation. Shirogane parked his bike and ran toward the student council office. He was holding on to a slim hope. Maybe Kaguya might also have found summer boring and come here. He knew he was being unrealistic. But as long as there was even a tiny chance, he wanted to try. When he opened the student council room door, he sighed in relief. It was empty. What am I even doing? Leaning against a window, Shirogane looked down at the few scattered students and smiled bitterly. He had done something utterly pointless. Of course Shinomiya wouldn't come here. What was I even hoping for? Suddenly, something cold touched his face. He turned around and saw Takam and Renji pressing a cold bottle of cola to his cheek. Renji. Riding your bike here in this heat for an hour? That's some dedication. Renji said with a grin. Yeah, I don't even know what I was thinking. Shirogane let out a few laughs, took the cola from Renji, and gulped it down. But since you're here, Renji, I guess it wasn't meaningless after all. Chapter 127, I'm not a gentle person. Both Kaguya Shinomiya and Shirogane Miyuki desperately wanted to see each other. During the school year, they saw each other every day. But once summer break began, they each returned home. And neither could bring themselves to be the first to send a message. So they waited in silence. They could only bury their feelings and stare blankly at their phones. As if guided by fate, both of them, on a whim, decided to head to Shuchin Academy, hoping they might run into each other. But there was a problem. Kaguya lived close to school. Shirogane lived far away. Kaguya took a car. Shirogane rode a bike. So naturally, Kaguya arrived earlier. When she opened the student council room and found it empty, a trace of disappointment showed in her eyes. I figured. Of course he wouldn't be here. She walked in quietly, sat down in the president's chair, the one Shirogane always used, and rested her cheek against the desk, trying to feel its lingering warmth. I really want to see you. By the time Kaguya left the school, Shirogane had just arrived, panting and sweating. They missed each other completely. How do you know I was here? Shirogane asked. Told me. She's at my place right now. Rinji and Shirogane leaned against the student council wall, sipping their drinks. She said you came here to deal with student council stuff. I figured you probably came hoping to bump into Shinomiya. If you got lucky. Knew you'd figure it out. Shirogane laughed. Whenever Shirogane did something irrational, Rinji always knew exactly what he was really thinking. Even though he hadn't seen Kaguya, having Rinji show up erased his disappointment. He realized that summer break didn't only have meaning if he spent it with a girl. Hanging out with a friend was meaningful too. Life wasn't just about romance. Having someone who genuinely cared about him, someone like Rinji, was more than enough. Want to come over to my place later? Still there. Maybe not today. Shirogane smiled. I still have to bike home. Besides, probably doesn't want to see her overly strict brother right now. Alright then. I'll take good care of for you. Thanks. I appreciate it. After Rinji left, stayed in his house watching TV alone. She flipped through a few channels, bored, and got up to stretch. That's when she noticed a photo on the living room table. It was a group picture. A couple holding a 5-year-old child. Rinji looked so cute when he was little. It was easy to tell that the child in the photo was Takumin Rinji, and the couple next to him were likely his parents. The father had sleek black hair, with bangs just long enough to cover his left eye. The mother, on the other hand, was a stunningly beautiful blonde woman. His parents are so good-looking. No wonder Rinji turned out to be such a pretty boy. Murmured Shirogane. She then noticed the date written beneath the photo, March 24, 1920. Did they write the date wrong? How could it be from the beginning of the last century? It was almost 2020 now, and there was no way Rinji looked like someone who lived 100 years ago. Figured it must have been someone joking around when they labeled the photo. At that moment, she heard a key turning in the front door. Quickly put the photo back and sat back down on the sofa. Sorry I took so long. It's fine. After washing his face, Rinji sat on the couch. Stood up from her original spot and moved to sit beside him. You went to see my brother, right? Yeah, I did. Rinji, you're really kind. From the very first day she met Takumin Rinji, had felt an unusual warmth from him. One that felt just like family. Every time Rinji visited the Shirogane household, she always felt completely at ease. Their home life had never been easy. Their father's factory had gone bankrupt when K and Miyuki were still very young. Not long after, their mother left the family. It had taken years of hard work just to stabilize things, and even now, life was still exhausting and busy. Rinji's arrival didn't exactly fix everything, but he brought a sense of comfort and calm to the household. Cherished this gentleness. As someone who had to grow up fast, she longed for that kind of care. Rinji, can I lean on your shoulder for a bit? Oh, of course. With his permission, kept her expression calm as she gently rested her head on his shoulder. They were sitting so close that Rinji could catch a whiff of the fresh scent from K's silver hair. Can I come over again in the future? Of course. You're always welcome. Whether it's your brother or uncle, anyone can come visit. I want to come alone. She said softly. Though Rinji had both fans and detractors among the students at Shuchin, in K's eyes, he was always a kind and outstanding person. And if she could have that kindness all to herself. If you're tired, I can have a driver take you home first. I'll bring over some groceries to your place another day. Rinji called softly a couple more times, but there was no response. When he looked down, he saw K fast asleep on his shoulder, breathing gently. She's asleep, huh? Smiling, Rinji stood up and gently carried her to the bedroom. He laid her down on the bed and covered her with a blanket. Looking at her sleeping face, he smiled and gently brushed her silver hair. You are wrong about one thing. I'm not really a kind person. You all just haven't seen my darker side yet." With that, he turned off the lights and quietly left the room. And just as the door closed, her cheeks slightly flushed. Slowly opened her eyes. Chapter 128, Do You Really Wish for That? A few more days of the boring summer break passed, and finally, Kaguya Shinomiya had something to do. Today was a day she had arranged to hang out with friends. She was supposed to go out with Chika Fujiwara, who had just returned from overseas, her little sister Moa, and Shirogane. Kaguya really wanted to build a good relationship with not just because she was Miyuki's sister, but because she genuinely liked the girl. Of course, part of it was also because reminded her of Miyuki. "Hi Asaka, how does this hat look?" "It suits you very well, Kaguya-sama." Hi Asaka replied with her usual calm expression. "Really?" A faint smile appeared on Kaguya's face. The monotonous summer break had been weighing on her. But at least today, going out with friends gave her something to look forward to. It was a brief reprieve from the days of not seeing Shirogane. But Kaguya was well aware, unexpected things often happened around her. Just as she cheerfully opened her door, she was greeted by two people in suits and sunglasses standing in front of her. Leading them was a woman whose voice was cold and impersonal. "Young lady, the head of the family would like to see you. Please come to the main estate. But I made plans with my friends today. Please don't make this difficult, young lady." Her words carried an air of absolute authority. Kaguya visibly hesitated. She was clearly intimidated by the woman from the main household. Though she didn't want to comply, she could only nod helplessly. Hi Asaka, recognizing the situation, clicked her tongue in annoyance. Something rare for her calm demeanor. The woman glanced at Hi Asaka, but the blonde girl simply stood there elegantly, as if nothing had happened. "Fine. Hi Asaka, you come too." "Understood." As Kaguya's attendant, Hi Asaka had to go wherever she went. Though they both served the Shinomiya family, Hi Asaka deeply resented the main household. The Shinomiya estate was a large, traditional Japanese mansion in Kyoto. Servants bustled through the long hallways. By the time Kaguya and Hi Asaka arrived, it was already night. They knelt together on the tatami mats of one room, waiting for the arrival of Kaguya's father. Shinomiya Genin, the head of the family. "Kaguya-sama." Seeing Kaguya's saddened expression from missing her outing, Hi Asaka gently held her hand. "I'm fine." Kaguya had known from a very young age, she wasn't free. She'd been given far more blessings than others. Luxury, talent, status. But all of it came with a price. She had never gone on a family vacation, had no summer memories to speak of. As a child, she thought that was normal. After all, she was special. She was luckier than most. So losing something in return was acceptable. She was already used to being summoned without warning. At the main house, the servants always greeted her politely, but once they passed, they'd whisper behind her back. Even her two older brothers ignored her. When she greeted them, they pretended not to hear and walked past her. There was no warmth in the main branch of the Shinomiya family. But Kaguya didn't mind. She understood all too well, the amount of fortune and misfortune a person has in life eventually balances out. Since she had the envy of others, she would naturally lose something too. She and Hi Asaka had been waiting in the room for nearly 3 hours. Only servants had come by to deliver tea. Finally, footsteps echoed down the corridor. Kaguya looked toward the door and saw her father approaching with a cane. "Father. You're here." Though he knew she was in the room, he didn't even glance at her as he walked past, leaving only those cold words behind. Good evening. Good work." That was the second thing her father said to her that day. Likely the last. 17 years old, and she'd never heard her father say good night. Or take care. Or you did well. Hi Asaka remained composed, but whispered under her breath, "All that effort just to get us here," and he brushes it off in a few words. What a rotten old man. She couldn't say it aloud. If anyone heard, it would definitely lead to trouble. Kaguya hung her head. She had long gotten used to this. Since she was a child, the family demanded that she carry herself with the dignity of a noble. They constantly warned her not to bring shame to the name, treating her like a tumor they couldn't cut out. "Kaguya-sama. It's okay, Hi Asaka." Kaguya forced a smile. "It's fine. The fireworks festival is the day after tomorrow. I can go with the president and the rest of the student council then." "Yeah, that would be best." Hi Asaka gently held her, letting Kaguya rest her head on her shoulder. "You're back early?" Takuman Renji walked into the Shirogane house with groceries and socks zoning out at the dining table. "Didn't you say you were going to Harajuku with Secretary Fujiwara and Shinomiya heiress? Why are you back already?" "We didn't go today." Sighed. "Shinomiya senpai couldn't make it." "Ah, she bailed, huh?" Those big families. That's not it. Jumped in defensively. Shinomiya-senpai got suddenly called back to the main house. She couldn't defy their orders. Oh, the main house, huh? Rinji chuckled and pulled a can of cola from the bag, opening it. I wonder if she passed along what I said to them. Unlike Rinji, who seemed indifferent, Shirogane Miyuki appeared genuinely concerned. I just hope Kaguya can make it to the fireworks festival the day after tomorrow. Rinji set down the cola and looked at him. You really want her to go, don't you? Of course I do. I see. Chapter 129, A Fireworks Festival. Without someone, the day of the fireworks festival had finally arrived. Something Kaguya Shinomiya had been eagerly awaiting. Due to her past personality, she didn't have many friends. It wasn't until she was invited into the student council by Miyuki Shirogane that she started forming real connections. An hour before the fireworks began, Kaguya had already changed into her yukata and stood in front of the mirror, her face beaming with joy. No matter how much Fujiwara messes around today, I won't get angry. No matter how sharp-tongued Takuman is, I'll forgive him. Because for the first time during this dull summer, I get to go out with friends. And with the person I care about. Hayasaka. I helped Kaguya tie her hair ribbon. After reminding her to be careful on the road, she prepared to leave. Hayasaka, aren't you coming? Takuman Rinji will be there too. I'll pass. Hayasaka smiled for once. It'd only make things awkward. I'm not even sure if he'd want to see me. You need to have more confidence in yourself, Hayasaka. Thanks, Kaguya-sama. Hayasaka could tell that Kaguya was in an exceptionally good mood because of tonight's event. Once everything was ready, Kaguya put on her wooden sandals and prepared to head out. I'm leaving now, Hayasaka. Alright, stay safe. Kaguya happily headed for the door. She could finally go out with everyone. She could finally see the fireworks she longed for. Not just from her window, but up close. She could finally see the president again. She could finally. No. Finally. When Kaguya opened the door, the same woman from the day before, the sunglasses-wearing housekeeper, stood there once again. With her same emotionless tone, she said, "Young lady, your recent behavior is simply unacceptable. Going to a crowded place like that could cause you to become separated from your attendants. If you get lost, how are we supposed to explain it to the head of the family?" Yes. And so, everything went back to how it was. After the housekeeper left, Kaguya lay face down on the bed. Hayasaka looked at her with concern, but Kaguya hadn't said a word since that moment. Even the last bit of hope she had during summer break had been taken from her. She just wanted to see the fireworks with everyone. But this was normal. She was used to it. So it was fine. It was fine. It's fine. Kaguya lifted her head. Though she was smiling, her face was already stained with tears. I really wanted to see the fireworks with everyone. But the fate of a caged bird was not something she could decide for herself. Just as Kaguya picked up her phone to send a message straight from the heart, there was a knock at the door. It was the same housekeeper who had just blocked her earlier. She walked over to Kaguya's bed and bowed. "Young lady, you may attend the fireworks festival. The head of the family has given his approval." Huh? Not only was Kaguya stunned. Even Hayasaka was taken aback. Shinomiya Ganon had never cared about Kaguya's feelings before. Why this sudden change? While Hayasaka was puzzling over it, a thought came to her, and she gently patted Kaguya on the shoulder. "That's great, Kaguya-sama. Now you can go to the fireworks festival with your beloved president." "Why yeah. I guess so." Kaguya was still so shocked she didn't even notice Hayasaka teasing her. "Kaguya-san. Over here." The best viewing spot for the fireworks was by the shrine festival, so everyone had agreed to meet there. Wearing her wooden sandals, Kaguya jogged over, finding the area already packed with people. The student council members, along with Shirogane and Moa Fujiwara, were all waiting for her. "Sorry I'm late." "No worries." Chika Fujiwara smiled. "Let's walk around the festival before the fireworks start." "Okay." Kaguya nodded happily. She didn't know why she was suddenly allowed to come, but she was overjoyed regardless. She looked around. Besides and Moa, the other student council members were all here. Huh? Kaguya looked surprised. "Where's Takuman-kun? He didn't come?" "Oh, he said something came up last minute and couldn't make it." Miyuki Shirogane explained. "I see. That's too bad." "Yeah. Real shame." The fireworks wouldn't start until evening, so there was still some free time. Kaguya, having narrowly escaped being shut in again, returned to her usual state of mind. Her thoughts began to wander. Well, it's a rare outing with the president. If we could sneak off alone. No, what am I thinking? Everyone's here, we should all enjoy it together. She shook her head, brushing away those thoughts. Just being able to come was already a blessing. How could she be greedy for more? Moa, let's go over there. Looks like there's good food. Chika called out to Moa and grabbing their hands and dragging them toward some food stalls. You three know the meeting spot, right? Miyuki shouted after them. We know. X3 with that, the three girls vanished from view. Ishigami checked the time on his phone and said to Miyuki, President, I'll just wander around here for a bit. I'll meet up at the designated spot later. Alright, don't lose track of time. Got it. With that, Ishigami walked off in the opposite direction. Now only Miyuki and Kaguya, both in yukata, remained. Miyuki smiled and said, shall we walk around together? Sure. What's going on? My luck's amazing today. The two strolled through the festival together, buying snacks and playing games like goldfish scooping and shooting targets. Kaguya wore a smile the entire time. The whole thing felt like a dream. Walking through the festival together with Miyuki. This was something she only dared imagine in her sleep. She blushed and looked at him, only to see a trace of regret on his face. What's wrong, President? Ah, nothing. Miyuki smiled and looked up at the sky. I was just thinking, if Renji had come too, it probably would have been even more fun. Meanwhile, in Kyoto, inside the Shinomiya family estate, dozens of bodyguards and servants lay unconscious across the courtyard. Inside the main hall, Shinomiya Ganon's expression was dark, and his two sons were visibly trembling. Before them sat Takemin Renji, calmly sipping tea. He placed the cup down on the table. A blood-red glow flickered in his pupils. Chapter 130, I unilaterally declare that I'm your dad on the day of the fireworks festival. Takemin Renji arrived outside Shinomiya Kaguya's family estate in Tokyo. Seeing a group of people in suits standing guard inside and outside, Renji immediately understood. These were sent by Shinomiya Ganon to protect Kaguya. Rather than protection, it was more accurate to call it surveillance. To prevent Kaguya from doing anything that might tarnish the Shinomiya family's name. The Shinomiya clan had always kept a tight watch over Kaguya. Not because she posed any threat to the main family, but simply out of concern that the eldest daughter of the family head might embarrass them. Families of that magnitude valued reputation above all else, and so Kaguya had been raised under suffocating protection from a young age. Renji knew well that, given the current setup, getting her to leave the house was next to impossible. Unless the main family gave permission. Just as I expected. He muttered. Standing a short distance from the estate, Renji took out his phone and sent a message in the Line Student Council group chat. Takemin Renji, something came up today, I might not be able to make it to the fireworks festival, Fujiwara Chika, eh? Renji-kun, you're not coming? Ishigami Yu, something came up last minute? Shirogane Miyuki, should we reschedule? Takemin Renji, no need. The fireworks festival only happens once. You guys go ahead, we can plan again next summer. After sending the message, Renji smiled, put his phone away, and turned toward the direction of the estate. Kyoto. In front of the sprawling traditional estate of the Shinomiya main family. Two black-clad bodyguards stood at the entrance. When someone approached, they immediately stepped forward to block the way. Stop. Who are you? You must be new around here, kid. Takemin Renji looked at the two guards and smiled. Who are you? I was here 4 years ago. If you don't recognize me, then you must be newly assigned. Takemin Renji smiled. After all, I killed quite a few people here back then. Anyone who survived would more or less know me. You. Step aside, unless you have a death wish. Are you insane? Get out of here. These bodyguards didn't believe the slender blonde boy in front of them could be as dangerous as he claimed. They assumed he was just here to cause trouble. One of them moved forward to teach him a lesson. Only to collapse after just 2 steps. Forget it. Since you're from the Shinomiya main house, I don't have to treat you like human beings anyway. After flooring one of them, Renji kicked another in the throat just as he reached for the alarm, sending him crashing into the wall unconscious. Taking down 2 in an instant, Renji calmly strolled deeper into the estate. Once he stepped into the outer courtyard, he was quickly surrounded by another circle of guards. Intruder detected. Subdue him immediately. Looking at the obviously hostile bodyguards and servants, Renji cracked his neck and sneered. Don't think I won't kill. You're all worthless trash anyway. He didn't bother with them and just kept walking forward. Stop him. As he moved, the others lunged at him. Crack. The lead attacker swung a baton, but Renji slipped aside and grabbed his wrist, casually twisting it out of joint. Ah. So noisy. Irritated by the screaming, Renji plugged one ear and stomped directly on the man's face. The cries stopped. Blood flowed, staining the floor. Pulling a tissue from his pocket, Renji wiped tissue clean, then looked at the hesitating group around him with a smile. Can anyone tell me where Shinami Ganon is? No one? Then are you just here to waste my time? With a cold laugh, Rinji stomped the ground and picked up the bloody baton, charging into the crowd. Screams and the sound of breaking bones echoed throughout the estate. A few minutes later, dozens of guards and servants lay groaning or unconscious on the ground. Rinji rubbed his shoulder and tossed the baton aside. Turning around, he saw more people coming. Several individuals now stood before him. The servants all covered their mouths, staring in disbelief at the destruction of the courtyard. At the center was an elderly man leaning on a cane, his expression severe. Found you, Shinami Ganon. Takuman Rinji. 4 years later, have you come to kill me? I do want to kill you, just not today. Rinji grinned. I came to talk. This is what you call talking? Injuring everyone in the Shinami household? My old man once told me, when negotiating, you only need 2 things. A pen and a gun. If it goes well, you sign with the pen. If it fails, you use the gun to blow the other side's brains out. So, shall we continue the negotiation? Come in, then. Inside one of the rooms, Rinji sat comfortably drinking tea. Besides Shinami Ganon, 2 others were present. His sons, and thus Shinami Kaguya's brothers. The 2 of them stared at Rinji with fear in their eyes. Rinji set down his cup and glanced at them. You 2 are pathetic. When Shinami Kaguya sees me, she doesn't act this scared. She even finds time to mock me now and then. You 2? Useless. Takuman Rinji, if you have a demand, state it clearly. Said Ganon with a frown. As long as it's not excessive, I will try to accommodate you. You still don't understand your position, old man. Rinji scoffed. Whatever I say, you have to agree. Otherwise, no one in the Shinamiya family walks out of here alive. If the Shinamiya family falls, Japan won't let you get away with it. Are you playing dumb? Why do you think I got off so easy after taking action 4 years ago? Who do you think would be happiest if your family were destroyed? I'm not here for much. Our student council is holding a fireworks festival. Your daughter didn't show up because of family matters. It made me lose face. So I came to see you. Kaguya is my daughter and part of the Shinamiya family. Are you trying to interfere in our family's private affairs? Family matters? Fine, then. Rinji suddenly laughed. He pointed at Ganon and said, I hereby declare myself your father. That makes Kaguya my granddaughter. So now, it's our family business. Ganon. Chapter 131, Where Lies My Own Happiness. Let's say I officially declare myself your father. Then it's not just your family business. It's ours. As Takuman Rinji said this, he completely ignored the increasingly ashen look on Shinami Ganon's face and continued speaking leisurely. Sure, I never raised you, and your mom and I never did anything. Honestly, having a bastard like you as a son is pretty embarrassing, but it doesn't matter. I, Takuman Rinji, don't mind being anyone's surprise dad. The Shinamiya family's rise was thanks to their powerful backer. In Japan, they held enormous influence, and people spoke to Ganon with the utmost respect. But Rinji? Not only did he insult him, he insulted his bloodline to his face. This was a first. Ignoring Ganon's expression entirely, Rinji turned to his sons. Hey, now that I'm your grandpa, how about showing some respect? Get on your knees and bow to grandpa. What? Cut the crap. Are you kneeling or not? If you don't give me a proper kowtow, I'll smash your kneecaps. These 2 sons of Ganon were grown men, married, and accustomed to wielding the Shinamiya name like a weapon. For them to bow to some punk? Unthinkable. But Rinji was terrifying. That's enough, Takuman Rinji. Ganon roared. If this is just about getting Kaguya to attend the fireworks festival, then I agree. Shinamiya Ganon, how dare you call your dad by name? Call me father. Got it? At this point, it seemed Rinji had completely forgotten why he came here. Ganon's face was nearly black. Even the Prime Minister had to treat him with courtesy, but Rinji? He not only insulted him, he was humiliating him. Even if Rinji had powerful backing. Even if he was this was too far. Takuman Rinji. Don't go too far. I'll have you know, even he wouldn't dare. Smack. Before he could finish, Rinji slapped him. The slap knocked out one of his teeth. Before Ganon could react, Rinji grabbed him by the hair and slammed his head into the table. Bang. Blood poured from Ganon's nose and mouth as his face was pressed into the wood. Listen up, Shinamiya Ganon. Destroying the Shinamiya family is child's play. The only reason you scum are still bouncing around in front of me is because Uncle Sagra told me not to touch the economic core of Japan for now. Not because I'm scared of you. Do you understand? With each word, Rinji slammed his head against the table again. By the time he lifted Ganon's head, his entire face was blood red. Dragging the old man close, Rinji leaned in with a crazed grin. Do what I say, and maybe I'll let you live. Even Uncle Sagar couldn't stop me if I really wanted your family dead. So take my advice. Don't be a dumbass. Thud. He flung the unconscious Ganon aside, then turned to the two terrified sons. Almost forgot what I came for. You two, make a call. Why yes, sir. One of them hurriedly took out his phone and dialed Kaguya's residence. While they were on the call, Rinji casually grabbed a couple tissues and wiped the blood from his hands. Mr. Takuman, she's been informed. Thanks. After checking his phone and offering a casual thank you, Rinji turned and walked out of the room. Once he left, the two sons collapsed to the floor in relief. Compared to the last time, Rinji had shown restraint. No deaths, just a few serious injuries needing emergency treatment. At the train station, Takuman Rinji took out his phone and called Miyuki Shire again. Hello? Rinji? Today. I'm not coming. I already mentioned it online. Rinji chuckled. Has the Shinomiya princess arrived yet? Her? Not yet. Oh. There she is. At the Tokyo festival, Shire again spotted Shinomiya Kaguya in a yukata. Then get on with the plan, Mr. President. Good luck. Wait. Just as Rinji was about to hang up, Shire again shouted. What is it? Rinji. You stayed away just to make sure Kaguya came to the fireworks, didn't you? Yeah. You. Can you please care about your own happiness for once? You're always doing things for others. Don't misunderstand, President. Rinji chuckled. This was my own choice. You should respect that. So don't feel guilty. You haven't wronged anyone. You really are. A reassuring bastard. Shire again let out a bitter laugh. Thanks. That's a fair assessment. After hanging up, Takuman Rinji entered the station. He looked up at the schedule board, lost in thought. Shire again Miyuki and Shinomiya Kaguya. Those two would probably live happily ever after someday. And Takuman Rinji had acted to ensure someone else's happiness. But where was his own happiness? I really wish I could have gone to the fireworks festival with everyone. Rinji no longer wore the crazed grin he had back at the Shinomiya estate. His expression now was soft, even gentle. I really wanted to attend events like this with the student council. After buying his ticket, he quietly waited in the subway station. To act for the sake of someone else's happiness. Dad, maybe I really am walking a different path than you now. The fireworks festival had officially begun. The student council members were gathered together, watching the dazzling bursts in the sky from an open-air venue. Kaguya stared blankly at the fireworks above, her mind completely taken by the dazzling night sky. Not watching from a mansion window, but standing close, in person, at the festival. Beside her were fellow student council members, her friends. And closest of all was Shire again Miyuki. Today might be the happiest day of my life, Kaguya thought, her cheeks flushed. At this moment, she was truly happy. Buzz. Her phone buzzed inside her yukata. She took it out and saw a message from Asaka. Miss Kaguya, it's fine if you come home a little late today. The house steward from the main family has approved it. Make the most of this time with the president. Love Hotel is totally acceptable, eh? Kaguya's face turned bright red as she frantically replied. No way. A love hotel is absolutely impossible. Even if it's impossible, just come home a bit later. Why? Because I have to go out for something tonight. I might not be home until very late, got it? No worries, I brought my keys. Tucking her phone back into her yukata, Kaguya resumed watching the fireworks, occasionally sneaking glances at Shire again's profile. Today truly was a happy day. I really miscalculated. I should have gone to the Shinomiya estate a day earlier and smacked that old man around then. Now I ended up missing the fireworks. Takuman Rinji gave a bitter laugh, shaking his head. He exited the train station at 9 p.m. 30 minutes after the festival had ended. By now, the student council members had probably gone home. Just as he stepped out of the station, he stopped. Standing under the dim glow of a street lamp was a blonde girl, cheeks slightly pink, holding a paper bag in her hands. It looked like she had been waiting there for quite a while. Hi Asaka? What are you doing here? Waiting for you. She lifted the paper bag. Want to light some fireworks? Rinji blinked for a moment, then smiled softly. Yeah. Sounds good. Chapter 132, Friends. The festival had ended, and the streets of Tokyo were packed with people heading home. Rinji and Hayasaka walked with the crowd, anonymous in the sea of bodies. I thought you'd be watching the fireworks too. I could see them from the window, so I kind of did. Hayasaka brushed her hair back behind her ear, paper bag in hand, walking slightly ahead. So how did you know I'd come out of this station? At Rinji's question, Hayasaka lowered her head slightly. You. came from the Shinomiya main estate, didn't you? Rinji was momentarily surprised by the question. Yeah. I just came from there. From Kyoto to Tokyo port, this was the only station you could have used. So I waited here for you. Hayasaka smiled. Once I saw that Kaguya-sama was allowed to go out, I knew it had to be you who convinced them. The people at the main house wouldn't have agreed otherwise. Rinji stopped walking. He looked at Hayasaka and asked, when you say Kaguya-sama, you're referring to Shinomiya Kaguya. The way you call her. Your relationship isn't just friends, right? That's right. Got it. Rinji gave her a gentle smile and walked up to her side again. Aren't you curious about what my relationship is with Kaguya-sama? There's nothing to be curious about. If you ever want to tell me one day, I'll be here to listen. Actually, I'm her personal attendant. Hayasaka said plainly. Basically, her live-in maid. You're just telling me that outright? It's fine. Her voice was low. I don't want to lie to you anymore. It's fine if you do. Because even if I lied to you, you'd still trust me. That's exactly why I can't keep lying. She looked nostalgic as she spoke. You haven't changed at all since 4 years ago. Back then, no matter what I said, you'd always believe me without question. I wore a fake mask from a young age to protect myself. Lies became my best weapon. But also the thing that hurt me the most. She suddenly walked faster and stopped in front of Rinji, blocking his way. The Hayasaka family has sworn loyalty to the Shinomiya family for generations. I was assigned to be Miss Kaguya's attendant at the age of 7 and have cared for her ever since. But over the years, I've come to see her as my little sister. So please. Don't hate her for any of this. I don't hate her. Rinji smiled. Everyone in the student council is my comrade. Even if I argue with Shinomiya a lot, I don't see her as an enemy. Of course. Don't tell her that. If she finds out, she'll get even more smug in the council. Better to keep her a little wary of me. I understand. I won't tell her. Hayasaka smiled too. They walked for a long time. The crowd thinned, until only the two of them remained in the quiet streets. Hayasaka led Rinji to an open space by the sea and set the paper bag on the ground. The view was beautiful. Above them, the night sky was full of stars and a bright moon. Before them stretched the vast, dark ocean. Let's light the fireworks here. From the bag, Hayasaka took out a bunch of small stick-like objects. Senko Hanabi, delicate handheld sparklers wound around thin bamboo sticks. So that's what you brought. Rinji took one and unwrapped the package, pulling out all the sparklers. Brings back memories. I used to play with these as a kid. It was late, and no one else was around the beach. Just the two of them. Hayasaka lit one, and it flared gently at the tip. She waved it slowly, the sparks forming graceful trails in the dark. Rinji lit one too, squatting down and watching as the sparks danced from the tip. The small flickers weren't blinding, but they lit up both their faces. Do you think these little fireworks are lame? Not at all. Rinji stared at the sparkler in his hand, the sparks reflected in his eyes. To have someone by my side watching fireworks. Even if they're just palm-sized sparklers. When I return alone in midsummer. It's a rare happiness for me. Though he missed watching the festival fireworks with the student council, being found by Hayasaka afterward and lighting sparklers together. He genuinely felt joy. Hearing that, Hayasaka smiled and sat beside him, lighting another sparkler. Rinji. Do you hate me for what happened 4 years ago? No. Rinji smiled. And Hayasaka, do you fear me because of what I did back then? No. She smiled back. Because I know you'd never hurt me, no matter what happens. You've always understood me well. Yeah. As time passed, the small packet of sparklers was eventually used up. Hayasaka stood and asked, Rinji, I know it might not be the right time to ask, but... Can I? Are we still friends? Of course. We've always been friends. Rinji turned and smiled at her. Good. A tiny smile flickered at the corner of her lips as she turned and walked ahead. It's getting late. Let's go home. Yeah. Rinji tidied up the used wrappers and stood up to follow. Though Hayasaka kept her back to him as they walked, the bounce in her step made it clear. She was in a very good mood. Today's winner was Hayasaka. Her relationship with Takuma and Rinji had finally shifted from ambiguous to clear. She could finally face him as an ordinary person. No longer with lies, no longer with masks. Chapter 133, So-Called Confession. Hayasaka, you seem to be in a good mood today. Huh? Really? You're still expressionless like always, but we've lived together for 10 years. I can tell. Said Shinomiya Kaguya in her pajamas, watching Hayasaka clean the room in her maid uniform. You seem really happy today. Did something good happen? Not really. I just met with Rinji last night. Eh? Kaguya shot up from her bed in surprise. Did you two get together? Not yet. We're still just friends. Then why are you so happy? Because I can finally face Rinji as a normal person. The two walls that were between us are gone now. Hayasaka said with a smile. Oh. Well, that's definitely a good step forward. Although Hayasaka was technically Kaguya's personal attendant, the two had grown up together and were close as sisters. So seeing Hayasaka make progress made Kaguya genuinely happy. How about you, Kaguya-sama? Any progress? Me? What progress? With the president, of course. I told you, I'm not in that kind of relationship with the president. After the fireworks festival the day before, Kaguya had gone right back to her tsundere self. Her face turned red the moment Hayasaka brought up Shirogane Miyuki. Well, I did have some pretty good luck yesterday. I got to see the fireworks with everyone from the student council, and the president even invited me to walk around the festival with him. Honestly, it's only a matter of time before he confesses to me. Seeing Kaguya's blushing face trying to act proud left Hayasaka speechless for a moment. Kaguya-sama, do you know why the main house suddenly let you go out yesterday? Huh? Why? Truth be told, Kaguya had been wondering that herself. Why her normally cold-hearted father had allowed her to leave. Because Rinji went directly to the head of the family and settled everything for you. Eh? Takeman Rinji? Kaguya's jaw dropped. This revelation was too shocking for her. How did he even know I wasn't allowed to go out? And why would he help me? At school, Rinji was always teasing or insulting her, which annoyed her to no end. Now she was being told he'd helped her yesterday? She didn't know how to process that. Well, probably because the president wanted everyone in the student council to attend, so Rinji stepped in. Ah, that makes sense. Though she and Rinji clashed constantly, he got along well with Shirogane. Kaguya found that reasoning acceptable. Either way, I owe him one. I'll have to repay the favor sometime. She lowered her head, thinking. By the way, how did he convince the people at the main house? They wouldn't budge for an outsider. Oh, I heard he just beat up everyone he saw. That violent? It wasn't that bad. No one died. Hayasaka said flatly. Only about a dozen people ended up in the igloo. The main house is a mess now. They'll probably beef up security soon. Then. Are you okay? Your mother works at the main house too, doesn't she? That's not a problem. She was out on a business trip. Besides, she's seen Rinji's photo. If anything happened, she'd reveal her identity and be fine. So, Hayasaka, I assume you've already got your next plan in motion? Kaguya whispered. More or less. Oh? A plan to get Rinji to confess. Hayasaka gave her a sideways glance. Like she was looking at an idiot. What? Don't tell me you plan on confessing first. Of course. I'd never sit around waiting for someone to confess to me. Sit around. Kaguya looked offended. I don't think Rinji will confess on his own. So I'll have to raise his affection level and confess myself. A confession is something that should happen after a proper emotional connection is built. The success rate of random confessions is basically zero. Got that, Kaguya-sama? Hayasaka's tone was serious, her presence suddenly towering, making Kaguya feel like her personal maid had transformed before her eyes. Sorry. Anyway, a proper confession takes time. Right now, it's more important to build a strong emotional bond. Hayasaka sighed. The road ahead was still long. Meanwhile, on Rinji's side, he had woken up early the morning after the festival and headed to an abandoned building listed in a text message. Inside, a crowd had gathered, all watching two muscular men in a fierce battle at the center. It was another Kengan match. Currently Rinji's best way to rake in massive profits. Oma Takata versus the famous Japanese wrestler Jun Sekibayashi. In the ring, Oma was at a disadvantage, getting thrown around by the towering, dreadlocked wrestler with the bulk of a tank. Mr. Takeman, you came to watch Takata's match? Asked Nogi Hideki from beside him. His stunning secretary, Aki Yamakta, stood next to him. Yeah. The odds on this one are still quite lucrative. How much did you bet, Mr. Takeman? 1 billion. Whoa. That's big. Nogi grinned, pulling a cigar from his coat pocket and lighting it. Rinji took a cigarette from his pocket and placed it between his lips. Got a light? Of course. Nogi quickly lit his cigarette for him. Rinji exhaled a smoke ring, eyes still on the ring. What's your take on this match, Mr. Takeman? Barring surprises, Oma Takata will win. But he's clearly at a disadvantage right now. In the ring, Sekibayashi was already lifting the bloodied, unconscious Oma to deliver a finishing move as the crowd roared. I know his abilities. He must be holding back. Rinji said with a smirk. And besides, you're the one who should be worried, President Nogi. You can only stand equal to Katahiro Matsudo if you win this match. True. Nogi's expression grew tense. Just then, things changed in the ring. Oma, seemingly unconscious, suddenly broke free. Slowly, his skin began turning red. Chapter 134, Kengan Chairman Showdown. This is. At the center of the arena, Oma's skin had turned crimson. Bulging veins popped across his body, and the sound from him was like a revving engine. I don't know the exact mechanism, but he used this technique when he fought me for the first time. Renji took a puff of his cigarette, watching calmly. In essence, it increases heart rate to accelerate blood flow, dramatically boosting physical performance. Of course, it puts an enormous strain on the body. Back in the ring, Oma launched a vicious counterattack, grinning wildly as he pummeled the much larger Sekibayashi with a flurry of punches. His fists landed like hammers, each blow drawing blood. Both fighters were severely injured. Sekibayashi with bruises and bleeding, 2 fingers broken, Oma with clear signs of bone fractures in his arm. Even so, both smiled as they kept hitting each other like emotionless beasts. So intense. Renji watched the brawl with detached interest. I wonder when I'll get to feel that kind of rush. You thinking of becoming a Kengan fighter, Mr. Takuman? Don't be ridiculous. No one gets fired up squashing an ant. He scoffed. As they spoke, the match ended. When Sekibayashi charged at Oma with full force, Oma suddenly accelerated. And in the blink of an eye, they had swapped places. Sekibayashi stood still, then wobbled and collapsed. Oma's fingers, meanwhile, were bent at horrifying angles. It looked painful just to watch. A strike to the windpipe to cause oxygen deprivation and blackout. A little more force and he'd be dead. Renji grinned as he flicked his cigarette butt to the floor and crushed it underfoot. He turned to walk away. This match had earned him a fortune. Sekibayashi Jun, also known as Hell's Angel, was a globally known pro wrestler. That he joined the Kengan matches was no surprise, and his strength was undeniable. Against a newcomer like Oma, the odds had been heavily in his favor. That disparity had led to high returns. Most people bet on Sekibayashi, which meant Renji's bet multiplied his funds many times over. Kengan fighters came in all types. Renowned martial artists, underground champions, assassins, killers. They were all monsters. But Renji had no interest in any of them. Just as he was collecting his winnings, the crowd suddenly stirred. The cheers and jeers stopped. Everyone turned to look in one direction. Wait. Why is Chairman Katahiro here? The chairman came in person. No way. If the Kengan Association's chairman is here, this must be serious. All eyes turned to the entrance, where an old man walked in with a cane, flanked by 2 enormous bodyguards. Despite his aged appearance, Katahiro Matsudo exuded an overwhelming pressure. Chairman Katahiro. Nogi Hideki exhaled deeply and walked up to him. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. You've found a fine fighter, Nogi. Even though his voice was soft, the nearby businessman didn't dare breathe. Irio turned and looked at a bald middle-aged man nearby. That's enough, right, Shikano? Yes. Shikano Gen, CEO of the Gandai and the man who had hired Sekibayashi Jun. Takuman Renji knew of this company. Many of the models and toys in his room were manufactured by them. This man named Shikano glanced at Nogi and said, as compensation for our loss, my company agrees to Nogi's proposal of a Kengan Association chairman battle. The whole venue erupted. It had been many years since anyone had dared make a move on the chairman's seat of the Kengan Association. And now, Nogi Hideki had become the center of everyone's attention. To initiate a chairman battle, you need the consent of at least 50 Kengan Association members. Looks like you've met all the conditions now. Katahiro Matsudo said calmly. Akiyama looked confused and leaned in to whisper to Nogi, 50? But didn't we only get support from 49 companies? Nogi didn't respond, merely pointed to Takuman Renji, who had returned to the scene. Mr. Takuman? Among the 50 supporters was Renji's company, Amano Pharmaceuticals. While it didn't have a fighter, it was still a legitimate Kengan Association member. His support was valid. Suddenly, Katahiro Matsudo grinned and said in a booming voice, Congratulations, Nogi. You've earned the right to challenge me, Katahiro Matsudo. The overwhelming aura stunned everyone present, including Nogi and Akiyama. K's body began to tremble, sweat breaking out on her back. He was just an old man seemingly at death's door, but the pressure he exuded was like a mountain. This kind of inhuman presence. He was a true monster. Smack. A hand landed on her shoulder, instantly releasing the pressure. She turned to find Takuman Renji standing behind her. Mr. Takuman. Oh ho, so you're here too, young Renji. Takuhira's terrifying expression shifted into a beaming smile upon seeing him. And you're not worried about your back, old man, showing up here yourself? Renji stepped up to face him. The gathered businessmen began speculating wildly about Renji's identity. Anyone who could speak so casually with Takahiro Matsudo couldn't be an ordinary person. You agreed to the deal we discussed last time, correct? I did. Renji said with a smile. Did you arrange things for my friend? Of course. A young man named Shirogane Miyuki, right? Katahira chuckled. Tell him that starting next month, he'll be the president of Dainapon Bank. Chapter 135, Shirogane Miyuki feels like this isn't so simple. Finally, Katahiro Matsudo addressed everyone present. In the name of the Kengan Association's chairman, he officially declared the commencement of the Kengan Annihilation Tournament. Anyone affiliated with the Kengan Association could enter, fielding their strongest fighter in a battle royale for the right to the chairman's seat. Defeating Katahiro Matsudo and his subordinate, the fearsome Fang of Matsudo, would earn the victor the right to appoint the next Kengan chairman, effectively granting them control over all of Japan's corporate world. With this declaration, the Japanese business world was set ablaze with excitement. And naturally, this tournament would be another gold mine for Renji. I'll send someone to pick you up when the time comes, little Renji. Sure, I'd be happy to get a piece of the pie. Renji replied with a smile. He was confident that this news would spread quickly. Every conglomerate, financial group, or corporation in Japan would soon be scrambling to find capable fighters. As Katahiro Matsudo departed with his men, all eyes turned to Renji, murmurs spreading like wildfire. Who is that student-looking guy? He can talk so casually with the chairman? He must be someone important. Could he be a major player? And he's kinda cute, too. Renji ignored the chatter and walked straight toward Oma Takita. Oma grinned when he saw him. Hey kid, been a while. I've actually seen you plenty. I'm at almost all your matches. Renji smiled and extended his hand. Let me see your right hand. Huh? Oma glanced at his right hand. 3 fingers were twisted at unnatural angles. Broken cleanly. He was still in considerable pain. After a moment of hesitation, he held it out. Renji pulled out a ring from his pocket and slipped it onto his index finger, then gently touched Oma's injured hand. ZZT. Crack. A faint electrical current and the sound of bone snapping back into place followed. Oma winced from the sharp pain but quickly realized his fingers had been fully restored. Even the broken bones in his arm were healed. He flexed his right hand, staring curiously at Renji. How did you do that? Secret remedy from home. Renji replied nonchalantly. I bet money on you. Don't lose on me. Of course not. Oma said with a confident grin. I never lose. Good. Renji glanced past Oma. You come get patched up too. Oma turned around to see that Sekibayashi Jun, the man he had choked unconscious earlier, was somehow already standing up, looking completely fine. He recovered that quickly? Oh, that would be great. Sekibayashi extended his hand, and Renji healed his broken fingers in seconds using the same method. Thanks, kid. You're one hell of a doctor. I wouldn't call myself a doctor. Renji chuckled, then suddenly asked, by the way, how'd you build up all that muscle? Oh? Jealous of my body, are you? Sekibayashi laughed heartily. This physique came from relentless training. If you're interested, come join Super Japan Pro Wrestling. Maybe later. I just renewed my gym membership. Kashinogen walked over and bowed deeply to Renji. Thank you, sir, for treating Sekibayashi. No problem. May I ask your name? My surname is Takaman. Just call me Takaman Renji. Very well, Mr. Takaman. May I ask about your relationship with Chairman Katahira? Oh, we just have a bit of a business arrangement. Renji said with a smile. He mentioned that Kengan Annihilation Tournament earlier. I see. As the two chatted, Sekibayashi approached Toma again. That was a great fight. I lost fair and square. Yeah, you weren't bad either. Just minutes ago, the two had been fighting for their lives. Now they were chatting like old friends. Sekibayashi nodded toward Renji. That doctor your friend? More or less. But don't underestimate him. Oma said, smiling. Back when I fought him, I lasted less than a minute. What? Sekibayashi eyed Renji, still chatting with Kashino. With that slim build, he didn't look strong at all. So that's what they mean by appearances can be deceiving, huh? Oma clenched his fist slightly, a sharp glint in his eye and a smirk curling his lips. But someday, I'm going to beat him. After the Kengan match yesterday, Renji walked away with billions of yen and a stack of business cards from major corporate figures, all inviting him out for a meal. Anyone connected to Kitagura was worth courting. But Renji wasn't interested. Early the next morning, he brought a brand new suit to Shirogane Miyuki's home. This job's a bit different from your usual gigs. Dress more presentably. Sure. But isn't this a bit too presentable? Shire again took off his school uniform and changed into the expensive suit Rinji had bought. Even without the price tag, he could tell this was a high-end suit. Just looking at it made his wallet cry. Rinji stood in front of him and helped him tie the necktie. This time you're there to learn. Don't forget it's a form of social experience, even while earning money. Of course. Part-time jobs are part of social education too. Shire again replied. Still, he didn't get why a job required such a fancy suit. Was it sales? Alright, done. Rinji adjusted the tie, patted him on the shoulder, and smiled. Looks good. Very professional. It's about time. Off to work you go. Wait, you haven't told me where I'm working yet. You'll see when you step outside. Huh? Shire again opened the door and saw a long, black limousine parked outside the apartment, with black-suited bodyguards waiting by the car. Shire again. He suddenly had a feeling that this job was nothing like he had imagined. Dakeman. That's. Shire again pointed a trembling finger at the obvious big-shot luxury car. That's your company ride, to take you to work. Rinji said calmly. Chapter 136, he was actually scared. Dakeman. That's. Shire again pointed a trembling finger at the obvious big-shot luxury car. That's your company ride, to take you to work. Rinji said calmly. Did you send them? No, they were sent by the place you're working at. Said Dakeman Rinji. For some reason, Shire again Miyuki had a very bad feeling. Just to ask, what kind of job is this exactly? Watch over the money, and occasionally entertain some people. Seriously? That doesn't sound right at all. It is what it is. Rinji said. This is a part-time job I worked really hard to find for you over summer break. Don't worry. It's absolutely legitimate and fits your need for social experience. It'll really help you grow. Alright then. Though it still felt off, Shire again chose to trust Rinji. After all, Rinji had never done anything to hurt him. And he didn't believe for a second that this was some sort of prank. A part-time job always came with its own quirks. Shire again had worked in enough places to understand that well. Wearing his suit, he stepped outside and walked up to the intimidating-looking bodyguards. Pleased to work with you all. Shire again bowed quickly. No, it's our pleasure. Seeing him bow, the bodyguards quickly bowed in return. You're here to pick me up for work? Thanks a lot. It's an honor. Shire again was now even more certain something was off. But he had no choice. He braced himself and boarded the car. Maybe the job just came with very generous benefits. Once inside the long limousine, the bodyguards shut the door and took their seats on either side of him, their presence making Shire again feel suffocated. The car drove through the streets, and Shire again kept thinking about what kind of job Rinji had actually arranged for him. At first, based on the description, it sounded like a cashier at a department store. But he glanced at the burly guards beside him. Come on. What kind of cashier job needs this level of security? The car drove all the way from Setagaya to central Tokyo, finally stopping in front of a massive building. Shire again-san, we've arrived. Oh okay. Shire again snapped out of his thoughts and looked at the place he was supposedly working at. Then his entire body froze. Dainapon Bank? Dainapon Bank. Second only to the Bank of Japan. It was the largest bank in Japan, with assets spanning the globe. It stood at the peak of Japan's financial industry, with the power to influence financial policies and banking laws. Even the Prime Minister would tread carefully around them. That guy Rinji. He really has connections. He got me into a place like this. Shire again's thoughts were racing. But maybe this isn't so bad. I've heard even the janitors here are paid incredibly well. Even if I'm just a janitor, if I save enough this summer, it'll cover my family's expenses for months. I just have to work hard. With that optimistic thought, Shire again stepped out of the car as the bodyguards opened the door for him. Let's go. Yes, sir. Led by the guards, he arrived at the main entrance of Dainapon Bank. What happened next nearly made his eyes pop out of his skull. Both sides of the entrance were lined with people. The moment he stepped in, everyone bowed to him in perfect unison. A truly overwhelming scene. Shire again. This is one heck of a welcome for a new hire. He forced himself to believe this was just how large corporations greeted new employees. But he still felt uneasy. He was just a part-time worker. Was this really necessary? Hello? Are you Shire again Miyuki-san? A slightly overweight middle-aged man jogged over and grasped his hand with a humble smile. Hello. And you are? Forgive me, I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm Kuroda, the vice president of Dainapon Bank. Vice president? Shire again was stunned. Why was the vice president welcoming a part-timer? Right this way, Shire again-san. I'll show you to your workstation. Much appreciated. Shiragane's feeling of wrongness grew stronger by the second. As Kuroda guided him through the building, every employee they passed bowed respectfully. Shiragane had no idea what was going on. Something is seriously wrong. This is not normal at all. Eventually, they took the elevator to the top floor. Kuroda stopped in front of a room labeled President's Office and opened the large double doors. Shiragane-san, this will be your office from now on. This was the President's office? Why bring him here? Excuse me. Shiragane asked nervously. Where do I get the cleaning supplies? He still assumed he was there to clean the President's office. You think it's dirty? That's my mistake. I'll have someone clean it right away. Kuroda began reaching for his phone. No. I mean, where's my workstation? What exactly am I supposed to do? Oh, your workstation is right there. Kuroda pointed to the seat at the center of the office. The President's desk. This is a dream. This has to be a dream. Please, take a seat, Shiragane-san. Oh, okay. Trying his best to ignore the overwhelming absurdity of it all, Shiragane sat down in the President's chair. At that moment, he noticed a nameplate on the desk. It read, Shiragane Miyuki. Wait, does this mean? Shiragane-san. Kuroda said, for the next month, due to Chairman Katahara's extended business trip, you will serve as acting president of Dainapon Bank. We'll be holding a banquet this evening in your honor. Thud. Before he could finish, Shiragane collapsed into the chair. He had truly been scared stiff. Chapter 137, This is a trial. I need to stay calm. After learning he was now the acting president of Dainapon Bank, Shiragane Miyuki had momentarily collapsed. But he forced himself to regain composure. All those years of pretending to be calm and in control in front of Shinomiya Kaguya were finally paying off. He sat up, laced his fingers under his nose, and stared straight at Kuroda. Mr. Kuroda, I'm new here, so please inform me of any immediate responsibilities I should be aware of. Kuroda was momentarily stunned by the aura Shiragane exuded. I was completely against Chairman Katahara putting a high schooler in charge of the bank, but this kid has presence. That piercing gaze. He's no ordinary youth. Because of all his late-night studying, Shiragane had deep dark circles under his eyes, and the whites of his eyes were slightly bloodshot. Combined with his intense stare, he looked downright intimidating. Shiragane-san. No, President Shiragane. Kuroda said with a bow. Routine matters don't require your personal attention. Sub-departments will handle those. You'll only be involved when major decisions arise. Understood. Though he was inwardly dazed, Shiragane maintained his calm exterior. You may go for now. I'll take some time to familiarize myself with the bank's operations. Of course. There's an employee list in the desk drawer. Please review it when you have time. Also, you'll find my office number in the directory. Got it. I'll be counting on your leadership this month. With that, Kuroda respectfully exited the office. Outside the office, Kuroda leaned against the wall and let out a long breath. Shiragane-san's presence is overwhelming. That look in his eyes. Like he could see right through me. Now I understand why Chairman Katahara chose him. He must have quite the background too. Meanwhile, inside the president's office, Shiragane, who had been sitting calmly, immediately broke character. He grabbed his phone and dialed. Beep. Hello? Renji. What kind of job did you sign me up for? Why am I suddenly the president of a freaking bank? Didn't you ask me to find you a part-time job? Renji said with a laugh on the other end. So I asked someone I know, and he said he could arrange something for a month. Just who do you know that can hand over the presidency of Dainapon Bank? The current president. Katahara Matsudo. He's still president? Sure. I just asked him to step down for a month so you could give it a try. Try it out? That's how economic disasters happen. Relax, President. Your goals were to gain experience and earn money. Being president for a month sounds like a great opportunity, doesn't it? This is too much experience. You're looking at it wrong. Renji said, suddenly sounding serious. Your biggest issue right now is your lack of confidence. What you need isn't just skill. It's perspective. That. When facing the Shinomiya heiress, you've always carried a sense of inferiority. You think your family background and talents don't compare to hers. Even though you've worked hard and surpassed her in some areas, that inferiority complex still hasn't gone away. Said Dakuman Renji. Now's a good opportunity. After a month of experience, you're one of the decision makers of Japan's economy. If nothing else, you should gain some confidence. You're right. Shiragane Miyuki could feel the sincerity in Renji's words. I'll hold this position for a month. Thanks, Renji. As long as you understand, that's enough. That said, Shiragane looked uneasy. About managing the bank's operations. I hope the people below me will take care of that, because I honestly don't know much about how to run a bank. He was worried he'd mess up. Oh, our original plan was for you to supervise while they handled the actual work. The operational decisions would be left to the team. That's a relief. But then I thought about it. If you don't say a word and let them do everything, wouldn't that make you a figurehead? That's no good. So the final arrangement is, all decisions and orders must come directly from you. You've got to be kidding me. That's the exact feeling we want. Holding real authority, where every word carries weight. You have to experience it. Wait, the problem is, I know nothing about this. The hand holding Shire Again's phone started trembling. Cold sweat beaded on his forehead. What? What happens if I say the wrong thing or make the wrong decision? Not much. At worst, people will dislike you. That's not so bad. At best. At worst, Japan's economy collapses, countless small and medium businesses go bankrupt, mass unemployment ensues, and urban suicide rates skyrocket. That's nowhere near not much. This is about feeling the weight of millions of lives hanging on your words. I believe this will be a meaningful summer break. Rinji didn't care about any of the potential fallout. To him, they were just stepping stones for the student council president's personal growth. Sacrifices didn't matter. But Shirogane Miyuki wasn't like Rinji. He had a conscience. Can I resign? You can, but dropping out at this stage would cause even bigger problems. Rinji said. Besides, think about it. If one day you want to walk down the aisle with the Shinomiya heiress, don't you need something impressive on your resume? Lasting even a month in this role would look amazing. Though silent, an inner war raged in his heart. On one side, immense pressure. On the other, a hopeful future. So, President, what's your decision? I'll do my best. I knew you wouldn't disappoint me. Rinji smiled. Being the president of the Dainippon Bank is just a small role. Next time, I'll find you an even bigger one. Please, no. I'll find my next job myself. After hanging up, Shirogane forced himself to suppress the anxiety and began combing the bookshelf in the office for finance-related books. Looked like he'd be pulling more all-nighters learning new things. Chapter 138, Takuman Rinji can't let go of Muscle Hua. After finishing the call with Shirogane, Takuman Rinji pocketed his phone and continued bench pressing on the training bench. It was a rare summer break. Of course he was going to spend it working out at the gym. 600 kilograms still feels too light for you, said Coach Macho, standing beside Rinji and watching him push the massive barbell like it was nothing. Might need to add more weight. Can we still go heavier? Any more and this bar might snap. We might have to move you to the parking lot and start lifting trucks instead. Macho laughed. Though lifting trucks has a downside. Vehicles aren't evenly balanced, so the training effect isn't symmetrical. Neither of them thought that lifting trucks was out of the ordinary. Rinji sat up from the bench, slightly flexing his arms before suddenly tightening them. Oh? My biceps are a little bigger. Rinji said in surprise. His arms used to look slim, but now, he actually had some visible muscle. Congratulations, Rinji. But remember, fitness is a long-term commitment. Right after saying that, Coach Macho placed his hand behind his back and struck a bodybuilding pose, flexing his triceps to the side. With a loud rip, his training suit burst open, revealing terrifyingly large muscles beneath. This is just the beginning, Rinji. Let's keep it up. Oh. Every time Rinji saw Macho's massive build, he couldn't help but admire it. Just then, the gym door opened and two female high schoolers walked in. Coach Macho, we're here. Oh? Rinji, you're here too? The one speaking was Hibiki Sakura, and next to her was Akemi Soriuon. Rinji had met these two energetic, attractive girls over a month ago. Since he hadn't come to the gym often since, they'd missed each other until now. This was only the second time they'd run into each other. As soon as Hibiki saw him, she jogged over, just in time to notice the barbell on the floor. Wow! Your training gear is still as terrifying as ever. Sakura-san, Soriuon-san, long time no see. Rinji greeted them with a smile. It really has been a while. By the way, when do you usually come to the gym? We never seem to run into you. Ever since she added him online, Hibiki had been sending him messages now and then. And Rinji always replied. After all, it wasn't every day a cute high school girl texted him. Among the women on his line, aside from Sagura Kaya, there were only Fujiwara Chika, Ryuju Momo, Shirogane, Hibiki Sakura, and recently added Hayasaka Ai. Fujiwara hardly ever messaged him. When she did, it was usually mass sent. Shirogane only contacted him occasionally. As for Ryuju Momo, her texts were mostly along the lines of club activities. Get to the rooftop. Only Hibiki chatted about casual, everyday stuff. I come at different times, so it's normal not to run into me. That's a shame. Hibiki really wanted to train alongside Renji. It was rare to meet a pretty boy with such a unique vibe, and she didn't want to miss the chance. But every time she came, all she found were smelly, sweaty musclemen. Akemi, meanwhile, noticed something else. Renji, who'd been skinny 2 months ago, now seemed to actually have muscle. You've made progress, Renji? Still a bit early to say success, but there's been some improvement. That's great. Keep it up and you'll have muscles like Coach Macho someday. Akemi encouraged him. Hibiki, no, Coach Macho is way too much. She definitely didn't want this handsome guy to turn into something so extreme. Renji, if you don't come to the gym often, do you train at home? At home? Just some push-ups at most. Renji said. Got any suggestions, Soryu-san? Actually, I do. One of our university professors has done research on home workout videos. I could introduce you. A professor, huh? That'd be someone from your academy's college division, right? You know someone like that? Well, not exactly. Akemi smiled sweetly. But my sister is the chairwoman of the academy. Oh. Takumi and Renji stood outside the gates of Sakura Girls University after leaving the gym. Ozutashio, huh? He's an associate English professor at Koyo Girls University. Has a pervy-looking face, but his muscles aren't bad at all. Soryu and Akemi had helped Renji by calling her older sister and saying that a friend wanted to meet Ozutashio. Her sister initially refused, but the moment the video call switched to show Renji's face, she suddenly agreed to let him come. Just as Renji was about to walk into the university, he was stopped by the security guard at the entrance. Seeing the guard block his way, he quickly realized. This was a girls' university after all. It made sense that random male visitors wouldn't be allowed in casually. Student, high schoolers aren't allowed in the college division. Apparently, the guard hadn't mistaken his gender. I was invited by your director. If you don't believe me, feel free to call her. Please wait a moment. The security guard immediately pulled out his phone, made a call, described Renji's appearance, and then received orders. Putting the phone down, he said politely, Mr. Takumi, please go right in. Thanks. After entering the campus, Renji found the designated location. A large auditorium that looked more like a coliseum. He pushed open the doors and stepped inside. The moment he entered, he was met with a chorus of yelling and fighting. What's going on in here? You've arrived, President of Amon Pharmaceuticals. Takumi and Renji. Following the voice, Renji looked over to see a mature woman with a cigarette in her mouth. How did you know I'm from Amon Pharmaceuticals? I happened to attend the Kengan match 2 days ago. The one between Takata Oma and Sekibayashi Jun. I saw how close you seem to be with Chairman Kadahara, so I looked into it and found out you're a Kengan Association member too. I see. So, you're also with the Kengan Association? While speaking, Renji glanced toward the center of the auditorium, where dozens of shirtless men were beating the crap out of each other, with blood spraying everywhere. What exactly is going on here? A fighter selection. Chapter 139, Fighters. My name is Soryu-san. Here's my card. Oh. Renji accepted the card she handed over. It read, Chairman of Koyo Academy Group. The Koyo Academy Group was a major conglomerate in the education and transportation industries. The all-through Koyo Girls Academy was just one part of its holdings. And this here is my secretary. Shin added, pointing to a short-haired woman beside her. Hello, I'm Matsuda Tomoko. Nice to meet you. I'm Takumi Renji. He gave a simple self-introduction. Taking a drag from her cigarette, Shin looked toward the crowd brawling with fists in the center of the auditorium. I only started paying attention to you after overhearing your conversation with Chairman Kadahara. I'm sure plenty of other people are investigating you too. Didn't expect you to show up in person. So, how do you know Akemi? We just trained together at the gym. I only found out today that her sister. That would be you. Is also a Kengan member. Renji smiled. I came here to find Ozutashio. I've got some questions about muscle training I'd like to ask. Oh, so that's what this is about. Shin chuckled and pointed to a towering middle-aged man in the arena who was clearly several heads taller than everyone else. That's the man you're looking for. Oh. Takumi and Renji looked toward the arena. 2 muscular fighters were just knocked unconscious by a single punch and lay collapsed on the floor. The one who had sent them flying at once was none other than Ozutashio. The man he had came to see. So he is a fighter, huh? Ozutashio is a gladiator under the Koyo Academy Group. What you're seeing now is our internal fighter rotation. A sort of free-for-all to select the group's official combatants. Renji stood on the viewing platform, watching with interest as Ozutashio effortlessly sent every would-be challenger flying with a single punch. No matter how strong the youths looked, They were flattened instantly like paper dolls. From the perspective of a regular person, he's not bad. You say the weirdest things. What do you mean from a regular person's perspective? Sorry, Uenshin chuckled. But I did some digging and it turns out you're not exactly normal. Seems like Amon Pharmaceuticals only has one person. You. Amon Pharmaceuticals, the company Takemen Rinji had established just over a month ago. The company owned an entire office building and an independent research facility. Its total assets were 5 billion yen. Staff, CEO. Takemen Rinji. Others, none. Products, none. In short, aside from the building and cash, the company was an empty shell. No researchers, no employees, and nothing in development. I haven't decided what to do with it yet. For now, I'm using my Kengan Association membership to make a bit of pocket money. You have your own fighter? Nope. I make money through bets. Then you must be good at reading people. Said Soryu. So, what do you think of our Ozutashio? Him? Honestly, if you plan to send that guy to Kengan's deadly elimination tournament organized by that old geezer Katahara, I doubt he'd make it past the first round. Huh? Ignoring Shins, are you kidding me? Look, Rinji pointed to a long-haired man sitting off in the corner of the arena, who hadn't moved an inch the entire match. That guy, on the other hand, might have a shot. Who was he? Shin narrowed her eyes. This was an internal selection match for Koyo's fighters. Everyone was giving it their all. But that man looked like he was slacking off the entire time. Seeing them looking his way, the long-haired man smiled and gave a small wave. At that moment, a massive shadow fell over him. Ozutashio stepped in, smiling and wiping blood off himself. You've been conserving energy all this time. Let's see what you can really do. Shin didn't even bother watching. That lanky guy probably couldn't take a single hit. Smack. Toshio swung a punch with precise aim. But the long-haired man casually raised his hand, and Toshio's punch was deflected aside. Oh? Shin's eyes lit up. Any normal adult would have been sent flying. Chairman. What? She turned to see her assistant, Matsuda Tomoko, rushing up with a file in hand. There should only be 36 participants in this internal selection, right? Yeah, what about it? But there are 37 people on the field. What? I counted carefully. I'm certain. Both of them looked back toward the arena and saw something shocking. The hand Toshio had just punched with was now twisted into a grotesque spiral. It was clearly broken. What the? Enough. Shin knew this was bad. Toshio. Fall back. Toshio, too, had sensed the sickening killing intent from the long-haired man. But his pride wouldn't let him retreat. He charged forward, swinging with his one good hand. The long-haired man smiled and casually threw out a palm strike. Wait. Smack. The entire arena went silent. In the center stood Takemen Rinji, now between Toshio and the long-haired man, both of whom he had stopped with crossed arms. Not bad. Rinji looked at the long-haired man, who stared back in slight astonishment. What's your name? After a brief pause, the man smiled. Kuro. Kuro Satsuna. I have business with Ozutashio. Could I ask you to hold back? Of course. Kuro lowered his hand. Just then, Shin and Tomoko stepped down from the viewing platform. Rinji began tending to Ozutashio's twisted arm. Shin turned to Kuro. How did you get in here? Rumors spread easily. I just asked around a bit. Kuro smiled. I see. So, are you interested in becoming a fighter? Absolutely. Kuro walked over to pick up his jacket. Only to realize he couldn't lift his right arm no matter how hard he tried. Looking closely, he found his arm. From palm to shoulder. Twisted like a towel, muscles distorted into a spiral. Chapter 140, Grandpa's in trouble again. Kuro Satsuna knew exactly how powerful his strike had been. He had trained in a style where the Rakshasa palm twisted muscle upon impact through rotational force. He had enhanced this move, increasing the rotational force for greater damage. Logically, the one who blocked that attack, Takemen Rinji, should have been injured. But Rinji didn't even flinch. Instead, Kuro's own arm was ruined. It was clear that Rinji had redirected the twisted force back into Kuro's body, causing his arm to destroy itself. This boy, calmly treating Ozutashio as if nothing had happened, might be more terrifying than any enemy Kuro had ever faced. His face looked harmless, but Kuro could feel the terrifying killing aura Rinji was suppressing. Just the leak of it was suffocating. This man was no good person. Meanwhile, Rinji was finishing up treating Ozutashio. He raised Toshio's mangled arm, placed a hand, wearing a ring, on his shoulder, and with a flick, the deformed limb instantly straightened. The dead muscle and bone reverted back to normal. Toshio tested his hand and looked at Rinji with gratitude. Thank you. If not for you, I'd have lost that arm. No problem. I actually wanted to ask you something. Rinji smiled. About muscle training. Muscle training? Now that's my specialty. I'll grab some materials for you right away. Their conversation wrapped up quickly. Once Toshio was healed,